the arrogance you see in your child
Yes.
at that point.
Okay.
My son will graduate now by 2022.
Yeah.
COVID has done us in.
Yes.
It's done us. It's given us a dead year when we didn't really want one.
Yeah.
But if he graduates in 2022, I'd actually tell him go for 6 or 9 months at the Uganda Management Institute.
Yeah.
Why, Dad? I've got my degree. I said, no, but job placement
has got
is based on the Management Institute certificate.
Yes.
Just like the law, people have to go to the
LDC to be able to go through. Yes.
That's where you get your job. No, but that's 3 years.
Yes.
I said, yeah, pity that one who's done 5 years and then an extra 9 months. The British set these out for us to get placement. Why didn't you tell us in the first place? I said, yeah, I didn't know.
Yes.
With this, you'll get to become a fantastic teacher.
Yeah.
Fantastic, but make sure you get your Uganda Management Institute certificate.
Okay.
And there are only 1 million jobs open, probably every 3 years.
And you have to be one part of this.
If you have this document.
Okay.
They will put, you'll notice when they're interviewing, they'll just put these aside, they'll bring that one in front.
They always bring that last bit,
The placement.
Yes.
LDC. LDC is the most important moment. Now I'm a lawyer.
But you would never have been one if there was no...
It is that man who comes he normally comes with a casimo, but he tells you that.
Yeah.
But every child forgets that moment. Some Kazei came with his Waizeka thing. Doesn't he know I've graduated? You're not hooking yourself to the next person who's going to actually push you to the next level.
Yeah.
Quite often, narcissism feeds on to the issue of you already got a job placement. Forgive me for this. Some people end up in MOOBs at S6. Then they work like our American system of a certificate 2 years.
Yeah.
Then they do the actual degree.
Yeah.
Yeah? But they've already been earmarked for a job.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a feeding frenzy where somebody will say, have you sat in water in Changwanzi?
Yeah.
It's like me telling you, have you got the Management Institute certificate?
Yeah.
You know, there's somebody who asks you.
Ask you such questions and you're looking for...
You don't see them as markers. Life is all about markers. You've seen those points that's showing you 40 miles to go to Jinja.
Yeah.
It's like, my homeland is far. I've heard that several times from people who come back home from Europe and wherever. They can't believe how far
we have gone.
Home is. Yeah. No, home
Oh, yes. I'm getting the wisdom now. That's how far okay.
So the markers.
Yes.
Somebody will always tell you at what point you should move to.
Okay.
But also those people who are mwana maugundi, mwana wani, are feeding on to this tradition of narcissism.
Okay.
It's all about my children, my line, my lineage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is all feeding frenzy.
So that's the narcissism.
I'm not politicizing.
No. You are right, because I've actually been asking myself, because I work with people. They're always about my money, where is my money? And I'm like, it's not about your money, it's about satisfaction to the client that we're serving today and the society we're serving today. Have you fulfilled the mandate of serving the client effectively and having this? Money will always come, but we always have. So it's not about politics, about just the way we demand for things, even when we don't deserve it.
Let me give you an example of that.
Yes.
When I did 1 year and disappeared on the streets, some secretary in a bank saw a new face.
Yes.
They're like, where's that man who used to cross the Kampala road with 2 steps? I was so quick.
2 steps, this is because you're tall and you're long.
They won't see my speed.
Yes.
Do you know that we walk very fast, people from England?
Yes.
You notice how you slow down?
Because their life is fast-paced, which is different from here.
When I got to
London, yes.
I was being knocked by people passing me. By Jove,
Yes,
excuse me. Excuse
Hey, mate,
me.
come on. Yes.
We were too slow.
So I have a boy called Idiwato Chom. Can you tell us if this is what is happening to you in Swansea?
Now, the speed.
There's a speed in London, so
Now,
I'm waiting to see Idiwato Chom come back to Uganda and walk like that.
I came to Uganda with an Audi Quattro speed. Kankanan. Remember the Kankanan rally driver speed?
Yes.
That's what I came back to Uganda with.
Yes.
And I got a job.
Yes.
And I was on double turbo speed.
Yes.
And I shot up. So people were remembering me for the service.
Yeah.
And it became an accolade on your name.
Okay.
My God. Now, after 4 years, I become the senior manager.
Yeah.
People are like, does he go to the water? Agenda kumazi.
Yeah. What does it mean? What is the mission of going? Oh, going to the water is superstition. You go for witchcraft.
I looked at
this is really the wisdom, like circles, the elders' wisdom circles. Yes.
I was like, I'm British. What's your problem?
Yes.
Now, after 4 years, I become senior manager.
Yeah.
They're like, no. She today.
Yes.
Yeah? I would actually find funny fetishes on my chair. I'd pick it up, and then Northern style, I'm like, hey, I come from the elephant's clan. Huh? My grandmother is a python.
Yes.
My mother is the beautiful bird, a nyonyi.
Yes.
And she's also has the kabiro of the leopard.
Yes.
There's nothing that will happen to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold it right there. Hold it right there. We're going for break. Yes.
It was pure to Nigeria, but I was using a British accent. So you know, Muzungu, no, Kadugana bananga fuwa Muzungu.
Hold it right there. We're going for a break.
I was on an upward mobile trajectory, and it was simply because of I had accepted the work ethic that my father had instilled in me.
Yeah.
And I was actually utilizing the same skill setting, but I was actually marking time. I was like not at full capacity.
Wow.
But something happened.
Now hold it right there. That's something that happened. We're coming back for it. This is the Elders Wisdom Circles with the one and only Jafar Raymond Amin, the first son of the former President Idi Amin Dada, who lived all his life in glamour and everything glamour and find himself on the street walking fast. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after the break. Who better place to tell us the story of what happened? We're sharing the wisdom of what happened when elders steps in to speak to the young people. Jaffa, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
I
was saying something happened.
Yes, you're saying something happened, and I want to get back to that something that happened. So for you who are just joining, I want you to go and send us a message. Send us a question, a comment, whatever you have, and we'll be able to answer here. This is called Wisdom Corner, the Wisdom Circles. We've lost this in our society today. We don't have it. Elders don't sit and give us moments to listen to them. We don't understand what is going on. So we realize that narcissism has become a new religion in 2020, right? Selfishness is taking over everything. Elders have the same thing. So we're talking about this, and I'm talking to the first son of the president, and I'm going to be able to bring all of them to this program. All of them. They have been into the State House. They've enjoyed it all. They've been around the world. And they are now here living with us. All right, so let's talk about
all around Africa.
All around Africa, actually, we're going to bring.
For me, that's a perfect suggestion.
Yes. So let's go back to
something happened.
Yes, something happened. What happened? Let's talk about it.
They did not understand how I got in the first place. If your former colleagues are telling you, but how did you get here? Your days are over. I'm like, what do you mean our days? Yeah, but you were in the 70s, now it is our time. Huh? I'm like, my mother. You see the mother behind there? That's Muhima. She's actually Msongora from Kasese.
Yes, and you look like one of
you see that woman there?
Yes,
that's my mother. She's from Kashari.
Yes.
You know, markers. Remember those side road posts, signposts?
Yes.
I was pointing at one.
Okay.
My mother's from Kashari. Kashari? Said, my nose is smaller than yours.
Yes.
So what are you talking about?
But you don't speak the language.
I'm like, I've been in England forever. I was pulling ranks on them in a nice way.
Okay.
But then I realized the British have what we call self-deprecation. It means you lower yourself intentionally just to get along with those who are unmanageable.
Can you repeat that again? What does the British call it? What?
Self-deprecation is the ability to lower yourself so that you bring yourself to the same level as those who are not quick on the uptake, or they just don't understand why you succeed and they don't.
Yes.
But I got it from Spencer Kamugisha. Spencer, you Muchiga man, you taught me a lot. He called me once in because I got angry over something.
Yes.
Said, Jaffa, sit there. Said, Jaffa, one of these days, whether it is tomorrow, today, or whenever, you're going to be in this seat of mine. He was showing me his seat.
Yeah.
I want you to learn to come to the level of those people you work with. Not everyone understands the way you do. My God, that was a wake-up call, but it was a mentoring that was happening.
Yeah.
He could have blasted
How old were you, by the way, at that point? How old were you?
I was approaching 30. I was approaching 30 because I got married as soon as I hit 30.
Okay.
It wasn't about, I'm not ready or what. For me, it's about time.
Okay.
So I married in 96. So by 94, I was like a 28-year-old. And with a short fuse.
Okay.
But the best employee.
Okay.
In the business.
At the time.
So I was beginning to get the kind of stuff this Muyaye from Kamocha is getting now. Everybody's hitting at him.
Yes.
I'm explaining the political arena. He's going to get more fire from the very people he used to eat
with and drink with and stuff.
Not his actual foe.
Yes.
And he'll always think it is the enemy. But there's no enemy. It's just your friend saying, who do you think you are?
You are, yes.
I said, you people, we all have sections, we all have boxes, we just deliver.
Okay.
I deliver every day about 4 tons because I was manning the business district.
Okay.
That is all the embassies, all the banks.
Was your boss being strategic that I had to put a son of a former president because you are used to protocol, you are used to
He had just seen that for me it was not about pinching the next cookie.
Okay. Yes, by the way, talking about
honesty.
Yes.
It was all about honesty and integrity. Do you know you see that a mile away from your children, you see it from your brothers, that character shines. I think mine was shining brighter than the rest. But I seem to be getting it in an easy way. Do you know what happened? This is what happened. They started skirking their work and leaving it to Jaffa.
Because you had the ability and more energy to do that? I
enjoyed my work. Majority of people out there do not enjoy their work. They are a square peg in a round hole. Or they're
wow! I hope you picked that one.
They're a diamond and it's just a small circular tube sitting in the middle. You just don't fit. I'm not an authoritative person, yet I am because of my upbringing.
Okay.
But they just saw a manager in me without me seeing it. For me, proaction simply means do it before it needs to be done so that you are ready for the next objective.
That's wisdom right there. That's wisdom right there from the wisdom, the elders.
Wisdom circle.
Yeah, wisdom circles. I'm picking that one. If you're watching the program, I hope you're picking that one, you too, as well. And we are actually having this with you know, the elder has to have, we wish to have like sort of like a fireplace where we eat kasoli and whatever. So this is going to be the program that gives you the best of experience of the elders' wisdom circles. We will eat kasoli. We will eat kasoli is roasted maize.
No meat.
Yes, yes.
No meat.
No meat. We're going to eat just this. But you might want to get a nyeri and eat a nyeri or something like that.
Wild rats. Now we don't have a It is fish. I drink sai.
Yeah.
I drink choda.
Yeah.
We mess around with the pronunciation.
Yes, yes. Anyway, so let's go back to this. So did they see you?
No, they ganged up to me in a sweet way. I ended up burning my candle on both sides.
Okay.
I was on gear
Would you say that you were not wise enough at that point?
No, I was saying, let me show you. It's like me dunking on a 7-footer. I'm 6'1", but I have the capacity to dunk on anybody.
Yes.
I'm like a Spud Webb who was 5'7".
Yes.
He was a short man who could do incredible dunks.
Yes.
And not many people remember Spud Webb, but I ended up with what we call where your motor neurons stop. We call it burnout.
Yes.
I had now been promoted to air operations. Everybody was leaving everything to me. And one day I was on the computer and what I was thinking was not getting to my hands.
Okay.
And it was an urgent report. And my mouth was beginning to stop. And I'm like, Patrick. Now Patrick used to work in the place I got him in. He became my #1 person who was with me on my side. And his father, by the way, was the one who designed the UCB house. I never call it Cham Towers, it's UCB house. But
even me, I call it UCB house. Yes.
Museum Subuga designed it.
Okay.
And we were getting, I got he was actually a 6'9" tall young man.
Okay.
And I was just like, Patrick. Yes, sir. He calls me from the other side. He was actually a supervisor. I'd made him a supervisor.
Yeah.
Just to make sure
things were okay. Yeah, yes.
Yes, sir. Whatever I'm thinking is not getting to my hand. I think I'm getting what we call burnout. And I use the proper word.
Yeah.
This is burnout.
Yeah.
Can you get me home? Now, Superman had
finished, gone, done.
It's like Iron Man. It's like Iron Man getting
the whole son of Amin, the great man, the Jaffa, the giant.
Man who thinks this is his company has ground to a halt.
Wow.
Had ground to a halt.
Falling to the small man and asking Patrick to take him home. Yes.
Do you know how you do the gym?
Yeah.
My gym was takeout.
Yes.
Dance from 9 to 4 in the morning.
That's another story for you. I'm bringing that in the wisdom circles of how I met Jaffa,
but my
and
point
how he
is
used to dance, the electric man. Yes,
but for me, that was my gym.
Yes.
That was my releasing this pressure.
Okay.
That I learned from.
Yet many people misunderstood you for being so low and stooping so low at the time at Stakeout because you were dancing crazy. They didn't understand what was going on for you.
But I was the best dancer.
Yes. But we used to ask ourselves, how can a whole son of a former president go low?
The boss of the DHL.
The boss of the DHL.
It was no longer my past.
Yes.
It was present. I was the boss
of DHL at the time.
Above me, there was only the country manager.
Yeah.
I was the top man there.
Yeah.
Then they realized, I'm not here to play. I'm not here to drink. But I dance my music. And Akibua's son was the DJ.
Yes. Tony Bua.
Anthony Bua.
Yes.
Akibua was.
Where is Anthony, by the way?
We're together in Mutungo.
Okay.
We're both on the same hill.
Okay.
This country is known for 2 names, Akibua and Idi Amin.
Yes.
In terms of name checking.
Yes.
But my point is this. When I came back after 2 weeks,
yeah,
I started that regime. rather than gym, Friday,
Yeah.
I dance the hell out of the place,
Yeah.
go home and rest.
Yeah.
I'm ready for Monday.
Okay.
And I learned that mentorship. And they told me, Jaffa, learn to teach the next person who can help you.
Okay.
I see you're very comfortable with Patrick.
Yeah.
Identify another 4.
Okay.
So that you
So
have
that
5 people who at any notice can be able to replace you at short notice. Huh? I learned that mentorship, and they've taught us that when we're hunting. They taught us that when they taught us to shoot the gun. we did. Nowadays I see it fashionable, people going to do target practice. Demystifying the gun is fine, but these are the things that your parents teach you, whether it's to hunt, or how to
protect yourself.
And then I managed to teach, I believe, 5 people to do that.
Okay.
In 2005, I decided to resign. It wasn't a forceful resignation, it was simply my brain started saying, what have you done for your community? It's not a political statement. For me, those signs of issues of reconciliation, because I was meeting people with those same questions. Why is he having a good life and we didn't have?
Yes.
You know, you get such vibes.
Yes, his father did this to us, this happened, yes.
You either become a victim or you victimize.
Yes. Those are the two, yes. It's actually African, it's happening everywhere in the world.
Yeah. Now, sometimes you would want to be like a lot of people are doing. It's like you love your chicken, you know you're on a stage, so if you get 20,000 crowds, how easy is it for me to get a constituency? I'm trying to give you an example of my Kamacha son.
Yes.
He's beginning to realize how tough it is now.
Yeah.
But if I can get a crowd of 30,000 to come and watch my show, how easy is it to
try and convince them
to move a crowd?
Yeah.
It's a different mindset altogether.
Yeah. And not always going to be very successful.
Of course.
Of course, pushed by certain things.
Believe you me, when I started reconciliation, what I call community work, people are like, no, he wants to be a leader. Nah, this man is trying to get a platform for his politics. Like, my father was not a politician. I'm never going to be one. I might become a brigadier general somewhere, but I would never become a politician. You would not want to hear the straight talking that I'll tell you in parliament, without profanity, without abusive words. But I'll be able to tell you what needs to be done.
This.
But you do that in community work. My wife did not understand it. My children are like, we've gone down a notch. We've gone down a notch because I was upward mobile. But I said, look, sometimes fulfillment comes from unexpected corners. If you Google me, I've basically taken up my father's 2 million hits. You know, they're very strange statistics. Mandela hit 60,000, but Idi Amin hits 2 million. Just by name search. And I've practically inherited that. How I use it is what the politicians, the security people, or marketeers are like, but doesn't he realize how easy he can earn from his name? I said, I do know, but it's what I do with the name that matters. And that is the most cherishing and fulfilling thing I've been doing since 2005.
Wow. I just want to take you down as we actually wind up. The show is coming to an end today. The Elders Wisdom Circles is coming to an end. But before we bring this to an end with Jaffa, at some point people felt like you were running mad.
In what sense?
You used to walk and talk alone. And
did that happen?
Yes. At some point, you'll be walking and talking alone. And this happened at some point towards 2009, 2010,
Did that happen?
2012, yes. I would think that you are always meditating while or thinking in your mind and working and doing your stuff. But a lot of people say, Jeff has lost it. And
let me explain that.
And I kept saying that I want to know, yes.
Let me explain that. In England and,
Yes.
and in America,
Yeah.
that is actually normal.
Yeah.
It's actually normal.
I found myself doing the same thing at some point.
No, we do it.
I found myself doing it myself.
Voiceover.
Yeah.
If I've learned my lines and I'm moving to location.
To record, yes.
To location.
To location, yes.
I'll go through the words.
To go and voice this radio ad or this TV ad, yes.
I'm the #1 voiceover in Africa.
Yes.
I convinced you to buy city tires, keeping you safe on the road. So if I'm doing that and you people think I'm mad, it's like you with your toggle talking.
Yes.
Isn't everybody with the
Togo is talking, yes.
Now, if I have mine here
Yes.
and I'm talking,
Yes.
doesn't that look like I'm mad?
Yeah, of course. It definitely.
Everyone in town.
Yes.
Yes. You remember the original ones with
Yes,
the
yes,
battery
the
behind the head?
of the old days of Celtel.
The
I mean,
sweet
yes,
one.
the Celtel,
The
yes.
sweet one.
Yeah,
I call it the sweet one.
Yes.
I hate this double.
I remember when growing up, General Salim Saleh, when I first heard of the mobile phone, it was the Celtel days. Used to have this huge phone that looks like a brick. We'll carry the thing and we'll have that thing coming like this. I used to look at it, I'm like, look at General, it looks like cool. I used to enjoy the thing. I was like, one day I will have this
Now,
one
there
also.
are two things.
Yes.
I was either on that, for me mine was a sweet one.
Yes, yes.
Just
The one that used to be just, you know.
around your ear.
Yeah.
Because for us we said, don't mess the side of your temple.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay. Which is the left side, yes.
People don't understand that our phones have a lot of microwave waves.
Yes.
So a lot of us avoid it. Keep it on the hip. They said, but you're messing around with your next child. I'm like, where do I put it?
Yes.
I'd rather hit on my hips and I'm talking.
Yes.
Oh, somebody saw me talking and I was heading to the next
record
gig.
Yes.
We call it a gig.
The gig, yes.
But believe you me, in Africa, the reality of depression is existent.
Yeah.
You reflect and you discuss the implications of your past or your future.
Okay.
And if you saw me doing that, I think I'm the most normal person, because the only way you can judge somebody's state of mind normally, the hygiene goes south.
Yes.
Now, if somebody is totally smart,
Yeah.
you can't question the mind.
Yes, of course.
But I've always been British. I succeeded in Uganda because of that.
Okay.
It is normal there.
Okay.
It's not normal in Uganda.
Yes. So I want to say this. You say you've always been British and it's normal there, it's not normal here. I just have a very, simple question to put to you as we wind up this interview. What did it feel like having been in that life? I will keep taking you back to that life, having been in that life of the first son and what it feels and the wisdom that your father, please take a sip of coffee, that your father kept giving you guys and stuff like that in your own words. And now coming down to this old situation that you went through, the narcissism that you say has become a religion of us going, and you started experiencing this thing like way back in 1990s and it's still going on and it's becoming worse in the 2020 as you talk about. What did it feel like, you sort of like losing everything, being in the exile and coming back and starting all over again?
But we haven't lost everything.
Yes.
Everybody has a status they look for.
Yeah.
I don't have a sense of greed or an urge to accumulate.
Okay.
That is the character of Jafar Amin. My brother can pass me by with a hammer or Mercedes Benz, and that's okay for him.
Yeah.
We live in the same town, the same city.
Yeah.
I'm a community-based person. The same thing that took me to the village was me saying, what am I giving back to society?
Yeah.
I have a low satisfaction level. Narcissists don't. They want everything. And it's about accumulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. They become like the British magpie.
Yeah.
The magpie will steal every Rolex in London and you'll find it in the nest after 50 years when they decide to cut the tree because they were making a new highway.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you an example of...
That's another wisdom, deep one, right?
Everybody will look for... The Prince of Wales lost his Rolex. You'll find it in that tree with the magpie in Buckingham Palace. Yeah? It took it off the coffee table and flew up to the tree.
Yeah.
I'm simply saying I've never been about want. But of course my children and wife have needs.
Yeah.
But I told you a very important thing at the very beginning of this show last week.
Yeah.
Politics of privilege is what you expect from me.
Yeah.
I can't sing issues of Ebyaffe because the day Kabaka Mutesa sold the country down the river in 1875 by calling in the missionaries, we've been selling ourselves short until today.
Okay.
Now, if you think that privilege has to be to the 9 families, then you're wrong.
Yeah.
I am totally contrary to the issue of politics of privilege.
Okay.
People always say, why aren't you demanding your houses? Why aren't you? I said, look, society wants this family to be punished.
Yeah.
It has become an acceptable norm.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lean back and let you. I always have a British saying of do your worst. But you'll find me in the most unexpected of corners talking to the people who matter. Politics of privilege is not my way.
Okay.
Demanding what is duly mine.
Yeah.
In 60 children, how far are you going to divide? We've only lost 5.
Yeah.
1 boy and 4 girls.
Yes. And the rest
but the 55
yeah.
are fighting over trinkets. Trinkets are what?
Yes, yes. And you use the word trinkets quite a lot.
Yeah, trinket is...
Explain the trinkets to us because really, yeah.
Do you know the first trinkets? In Simbi. That was money, the original money. Whether in China, whether in China, our form of money is in Simbi.
Yeah.
Cowrie shell.
Okay.
Those are trinkets. The British would bring wire, knowing that the Maasai just love their wire. They would give you whatever you want, as long as you give them their wire. When the man was actually a Baluchistani, came to Uganda, they used to call him Ebirevu. Ahmed somebody. He brought them cotton. But it was the poor type of cotton called Americani.
Yes.
It's a very light, what we Muslims use for burial.
Okay.
All they wanted from us, due to their extractive agenda, was slaves and ivory.
Yeah.
So they exchanged trinkets for valuables.
Okay.
Now, how much more valuable will I be standing there and saying, I am the son of Amin, I demand such. Politics of privilege.
Wow.
Tribes are demanding it as a wholesale. In Uganda, it's we first. So yeah, you first. But I'm up here. Yeah, but I'm first. I'm number 1. I'm giving you the whole issue of politics of privilege.
Yes. And so how does that fit in?
Yeah, I am comfortable in my skin.
Okay.
The day that your life is all about keeping up appearances, then you're wasting your time.
You've lost everything, yes.
No, you'll always be on that treadmill.
Okay. So Jaffa, on the wisdom circle, on the elders' wisdom circle today, what would be our take home from this topic today that you want to leave us with as the wisdom of the week that I must speak from here and go with? And for everyone who is watching the show all across the world, thank you very much. On Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, this is Elders Wisdom Circles, all right, with of course Jaffa Remo Amin, aka Salongo.
My take-home point for today is the only narcissist notion that I accept is putting family first. I climbed mountains. I'm the most filmed person in my family. I've written a book. He's questioned my sanity, but I hope I've made sense to you. And the fact is, put family first. At 54, I hope to be able to say, after these 6 months of traumatic COVID-19 challenges, put family first. And by the way, it was a blessing in disguise that we ended up with the people you keep missing every morning, and you miss out on your last born sleeping by 9 because they wanted to stay up and wait for daddy. Those moments, you notice how you're going to cherish these 7 months of COVID-19. For me, it's a blessing in disguise, putting family first. And if you can always say me to my family, but also we to community, will make Uganda a better place. And please, it's not about insult. Insulting somebody is not a sign of intelligence. The narcissist in us would actually say, if I can throw a barb at somebody, insult a person, I've won the argument. Let's learn to debate. Let's learn to get insight out of other people's point of view. And my height is meaningless until I have to grab that mango faster than you do. Or my son dunking on a fellow soldier, and he's not even a soldier, but playing with tough men and succeeding. If I can be able to show the child that I'm putting them first, then that would be a change from the adjustments that I made from thinking about myself. Because by the way, the corporate world is a narcissist den that teaches us a lot of unsavory habits. The same people are earning so much money, they ought to be able to give back to family and make sure we put the family first. So if there's any narcissist notion or accolade we can accept, that is putting your family first. But please, no nepotism in the place of work or political status. It shouldn't be about politics of privilege. Jafar earning more than others because he was one of the 9 first families of this country. No. I am an everyday people, and I am comfortable in who I am. But I want to make my children proud and comfortable in the pursuit of happiness. Can we put that as a new policy in Uganda? It's the only thing we should take away from America, narcissist America. Pursuit of happiness.
Wow. Jaffa, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Elders Wisdom Circles with the one and only Salongo Jaffa Remo Amin, the son of the former president, the one who saw it first. And he said the first 9 families, the first family, the first
the first 9 families.
First 9 families.
It should not be about politics of privilege.
Yes.
That word is narcissistic at the highest level. We should be about, it's the same word, we in English. But when they say they actually meaning young.
So young. Even if you in the family who says this is if you have a mind, you know, yes, it should be about ours going forward. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the program. I thank you very much for being part of the Wisdom Circles, the Elders Circles. We'll be back next week on Saturday, same time, same place. Before we start taking the Wisdom Circle all across the country, speaking on the fireside and looking for the 1%ers of the wisdom.
Above 65.
Yes.
They're there.
Yes, and we're looking for them and we need them.
Very disgruntled people.
Yes.
But they own everything.
Yes.
And they're responsible for our past. Remember that.
Thank you very much for being part of the show. Until next week, God bless you. And it's a wrap from us here at the Wisdom Center, or what we call the Elders Wisdom Circles.
Kama wewe kuna mwingine yeye, sijamona Sawe tuse kwejiyo kebera kola bekubudde dobozi lirina oguna omujaja n'amabidde
Sesamu enkuwereza ntudde ku kyoto mpa Kampala sitenze bamanyini n'akakinko
kuza bamanya oluganda lw'enkuba sirina budde burape Kampala bwewaana akatinga budde
wereza amatooke n'erumonde saako n'ebinyeebwa akatunkuma amayuni kingere ndese Luganda
ipiaddi gye watugamba ffe tulinze stories elevation kopi nga zitunze
soka vidiyo zimwana nsulewo obusingo male ntabale zibit nze sityalosi
mwana wange losinze njitya kyovola basikowa nina okugunjula emiti emijoji n'eginaddawo
pose nange bwentyo nina okuzaalira eggwanga lino nga sinavaawo
anazaala teyeerangirira gwejjayo sitolezo oba okuba bulanga genda bwerange ku laadiyo abawala b'omu Kampala nze mwannema akajanja mwagala okukwanibwa naye okuzaala nedda
ogambye eki guno omulembe ki tunazaala tutya abaana ng'ate mwe muliyala mukwanisa obusentesente ng'ate tebuliiwo okwana agine beti nga tosula wa Sofi
bwe mba nsula wa Sofi ye yangwana mulwaki ansa yammwe yes buli abagambako mwagala abasajja bokka bajjayo zidoola zino ennaku bwengula ekikomando nti nedda
topiki njikoye tudde ku birala obonga nani mu Uganda sizonya nti yeeno
mbonga n'oyo yenna n'akyusa eggwanga anajja bw'emize emibi wano ng'okusumagira
mbonga n'oyo yenna anaafanga ku bakyala breast cancer amalwaliro tulina matono
mbonga n'oyo anaaleeta enkyukakyuka mu nsi okusomasome nga nkimanyi omulimu weeguli
mbonga n'oyo anaakendeeza kutya gaasi kuba ku kampasi nk'oyo okwekalakasanga
ze mbonga n'omusajja najjawo ebinnya mu kkubo alwanyisa enguzi ng'eno asasula n'abasomesa
mbonga n'oyo yenna anaafanga ku bavubuka kulwanyisa yala mu zigeto ffe tuba bubbi
mbonga n'oyo yenna nga masita pulaana akoleyo site mu Uganda nga tulina endala
mbonga n'omusajja anaafa ku muntu w'ensi akendeeza akabeeyi ka sukaali kake wansi
mbonga n'oyo mu nsi yange atatunda bintu kuba mmanyi nti saawa yonna nanga ntundiramu kati gwe bonga nange
bonga nange
obonge nange
obonge nange
bonga nange
nkugambye bonga nange
tobonga n'abayaye bw'oba ojagala okukyusa bonga nange
bonga nange
obonge nange
obonge nange
kugambye bonga nange
nze nkooyo kubonga
tobonga n'abayaye bw'oba oyagala okukyusa
Signalise for Royal Highness drift on the beat Big Mott peace
Yeah, Munji. A story began. He had big dreams. Ezokubera superstar. Nga MJ ngo bwalabo mukabira. Facebook poster. Ebisawe nga bijula. It was all a dream nga bigi bwe yagamba. But buli we yatuuka nga kazindalo. Nga crowd emwoganira. yayimbanga yekwese emizindalo anti ku stage bamukubanga zichokolo naye nga champion nalemerako giving up teyakirowoozako. He worked hard natuka ku radio bwe yakola video takyava na ku TV yo kati bwatuka ku stage nga bawugana the same people bamugamba nga vayo bapromota mu kusooka nga basalawa kati ekivulu bwatakibaako tekijja kukwatayo. That's a champion. Kasita obeera n'okukkiriza everything is possible if you truly believe. Kyokava omusajja temumanye yakuba ku buloga kati afuga eskaledi enyo eri ku acres 2. That's the real champion. That's a champion. Ono yaviira Masaka mzei boy yaweta teri kusoma school fees zabula yapakasapakasa era obusente bwe bwawera 12 ku machanga ali kuzidde Kampala. Mowino mwe yatuukira okusuubula abayaye sente ne bazikuba yeyiyayi era n'asuubula endiboota awezezza emidaala ena Owino ne bajooca but no ebyokudda esakala yagaana obwongo bwesera ng'era yasala lwera yayiya ekijji wakati mu city center kusuubula jini kati yatwegombesa ate emali ajja China amaduuka awezezza 3 ku Nabukeera 26 landlord takyamukonkona mami asula mu byenga sister asoma bwa doctor. That's a champion. Kasita obeera n'okukkiriza everything is possible if you truly believe. Temumanyi street kid eyambalanga kasaati kamu akayero pasita omuyimbi kati bw'alonkinga buli mwaka abantu ne bayitirira. He's a champion. All I'm saying is teri kitasoboka. Beera n'okukkiriza. Osobola okuva kataka ke kamwoki enkya ne bakusanga mu Emirates mu okusambira. Osobola okuva mu saloon enkya ne bakusanga nga Serena ekwagikulira. All I ask big brother, have a little faith. Beera n'okukkiriza. Kasita obeera n'okukkiriza buli kimu ojja kifuna. Everything, anything, buli kye wali oloozeeko. Kasita oba n'okukkiriza. And you'll never take him to church. Kati boda boda givugize maanyi nakukkiriza enkya bagenda kusanga mu magulu 10 yo. Beera n'okukkiriza. Omupaka sidisanise maanyi nakukkiriza. Majestic Plaza gyegenda kubeera yo. Beera n'okukkiriza. Student, work hard. Beera n'okukkiriza. Government sponsorship ogenda tuukayo. Ne rapa atandika nawe beera n'okukkiriza waditale kyazizo. Bwe kiri. Just believe. Set your heart to it. Believe.
You can achieve it.
Tewerayo okusaba. Enkya basobola okugamba mu Uganda tutte World Cup. Kase tubala okukkiriza. Beera n'okukkiriza. Ekyo oyina emputtu.
Who speaks his mind out is naturally a person who knows what he's doing. Is naturally a person who cracks jokes. In fact, a friend of mine said he should just, every time he does a skit, he should just give him a moment and just share. He wants to pay for it. Richard, welcome to Creative Industry Talk. How are you this morning?
I'm very fine. You just reminded me. I've lost money.
Yes, you've lost money.
I've not shared with him.
Yes, he said, whenever you do a skit, just send me and send the invoice immediately. Yeah. And I said, wow, I wish I would have a talent and gift like Richard. where I don't have to work very hard and the money just finds me.
Boss, we sweat.
I know. But welcome to the program, Richard. We want to say thank you very much. And how have you been?
I've been okay.
Yeah.
I have constantly been COVID negative.
Okay.
Yeah. I assume.
That's a very good one. Yes.
I've not tested in a long time.
Yes.
But we're okay. A lot has changed.
Yeah.
We have tried to change with the change.
Yes.
Yes. And
Okay.
along the way, you discover here, you lose here. But we stay above the water.
Yes, yes. I just want to take you straight to Richard, to the first question we always ask on the Creative Industry Talk. Who is Richard Tuwanje if I am looking for you? Are you Ugandan? If yes, what are the values define you as Ugandan? Yes, that question is usually a question that gets so many people punching on the streets of Kampala and across the world. If you ask them a question, who are you?
Yeah.
Some people assume that everyone knows them.
Yeah.
And yes, we see you on TV every other day. Yes, we see you all across Africa. But where is Richard in a nutshell?
That is a very difficult question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because personally I believe some people's values change along the way.
Yes.
Yeah, life is a game of discovery and rediscovery of self. But personally I believe, plainly put, Richard Tuwanje is a Ugandan who is a multifaceted entertainer.
Yeah.
Who has his hands in not just one thing, actor, comedian. I don't know whether I should call myself a singer. Yeah, I think I'm safe calling myself a singer, not a musician.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to sample that song already.
Yeah, I used to
We're on the Creative Industry Talk.
So I do a bit of music. I'm a producer on a wider scale because most of the art I do I also produce.
Yeah.
Some with a team, some alone.
Yeah.
And as a human being, I stand for good for all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That right there is quite a deep statement. I stand for good for all. I would like to take this moment, first of all, to welcome everyone to the Creative Industry Talk from all across the world. Thank you very much, all our brothers and sisters in the United States of America. I hope you did not jump on that plane and you're part of the 600 people from Afghanistan, And of course, to all the creative people all across the world, we want to say thank you very much and welcome to the space for the creative right here in Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, going to the rest of the world. Richard,
Yes.
welcome to the show. And now that we know you, and now that we understand who you are, just away from seeing you on TV, our topic on the Creative Industry Talk today is about creativity for business success in Uganda.
Yeah.
Creativity for business success in Uganda. When we posted this yesterday, a lot of people wrote back and they were asking, creativity for business success in Uganda. They don't even understand what creativity is. Now you are putting the mix of success in it. And I mean, how are we going to do it? So I said, well, we will have to have a discussion about this. And of course, we're going to be joined by Faizo Chiwewa. We were supposed to be joined by, Jeremy Biemanzi from Nomad Advertising. But unfortunately, Jeremy has got an emergency that needs to attend to. He will be joining us next week. Okay. And of course, we want to take a moment to welcome Faizo Chiwewa.
I just arrived like 5 minutes ago in Antwerp. It's I would say the capital of the Flanders in Belgium. So it's where I am, and I had to find my way to get to the show. So I'm very excited to join you guys.
Very much, Faizo. Thank you very much, Faizo, first of all, for joining us. I hope you have had a very good ride on the train. In Uganda here, when we talk about the train, we only remember in the 60s. I don't know whether Richard... Our train hasn't yet been...
I know nothing about trains in Uganda. I just read. What I see down there below Ginger Road, I think those are just carriers,
Wow.
Train has...
Yes, and when my uncle tells me the trains were good, so seeing Faizo ride on the train in Europe, it's quite an amazing stuff. But gentlemen, welcome to the show. So today we want to just ride straight to this, discussion. I want to give you a context, Richard. There is artistic creativity.
Yes.
And there is a more general kind of creativity that we see in people that could also be called the ingenuity, innovation, the lateral thinking outside the box. We've heard people talk about this very much, or simply the problem solver.
Yes.
And we are going to mix the two together to basically find what is best for us in our discussion today. We're talking about creativity for business in Uganda and the success. But the context here is that creativity in business is a nifty way of thinking that always inspires people, challenges people, and also help people to find innovative solutions that create opportunities that we always use in our day-to-day life, okay? And of course, opportunities out of problems are key, and we're talking about the pandemic situation right now. The COVID-19 has brought, you know, a challenge in the industry. But how are we turning these opportunities and challenges to actually create opportunity to solve the problems that we have or we had already before? It is also the reason some individuals, of course, and companies attract our attention to either goods and services or to products that we need. Yes, it comes from the creative mind. The ideas, the amazing ideas, sometimes seems very, you know, far-fetched, and other times is merely the follow habitant, and some people really just go through with whatever the flow is. Yeah. But today on the show, I want to take you straight to this background, and I want to start with you, Richard, right here in the studio. First of all, is creativity an important skill to have?
It is a very important skill to have. Unfortunately, it is not for all. And I think, you know, the nature's laws, I think, dictated like that, because I mean, if all of us were creative, it would be so hard to cope with the world. I mean, you're trying to catch on this and something new has come. But that is where we are going. It is very important to be creative because it helps you stand out in whatever sector. I believe it. You know, when you come, most of us are followers before we get creative. There's always a trend, whether in banking, the arts, the sports. There's always a trend, and that trend, at whatever given time in history or in the future, it will have been brought about by a few creative minds. So, like you said, it's the creative ones who create even opportunities, not for just themselves, but for others. And without just limiting it to art, it is so important that if a particular sector is so clogged with competition, chances are the one who is going to slide off the conventions will either stand out or it's not a win all the time. Because you can create your way to your failure.
That's true. Absolutely.
So it is important to be creative, but it's also important to create with high regard of the audience. That you're creating for. Most cases, creative people are also very egoistic. So when the idea comes and he likes it, you're not going to try and tone his idea down.
This is my idea.
To match the targeted audience. He wants to run it the way he has thought about it. So creativity is very important, but also most important is who are you creating for?
Wow. Faizo Chiwewa, all the way in outside countries. You've heard from Richard. Richard is saying that it is important that the creativity is important skill for a person to have. Do you agree with Richard, Faizo? And also on that background, Faizo, how do we, you know, profit from the creativity in business, if at all it is important as a skill?
Thank you so much. First of all, to compliment Richard for how he looks. I mean, you can see that creativity has made on some weight. Despite all of us who are losing weight during this COVID, Richard is gaining weight, which is good to see. That's a creative man. Excitingly, I would say. I totally agree with his notion on yes, creativity is necessary. It's not for everyone, but it's also something that we need nurture in everyone. That's why we encourage our children at a young age to really try to practice different things, test different experiences, so that people define themselves in the future, whatever course they take in life, be not just redundant, dependent on what they're told to do or what they must do, but also be supportive of our community. And I'm always fascinated initiatives really contribute to changes that we see in societies. And you can see in Europe, you find a lot of things done, but not necessarily provided by authorities or governments, but by individuals who find hardships in terms of their day-to-day life, and they think about solutions to go through these hardships. And those solutions then eventually become public necessities or public goods that everyone now needs to use. For example, you can, if you walk around, or if you move around, like just what you talked about at the beginning, the necessity of having a train. I woke up in Holland this morning at 6:40, and by 10 I'm in Belgium, and I'm having a conversation here. So that thought of creativity to say, you can call it also innovation, to make people's lives easier is really what our country would need more of this kind of input in our day-to-day life. Yeah.
Richard, you've had the man walk up in Finland.
Why was that meant to make me feel guilty? Because I'm the reason this show started late. Just from Muyenga to Bokoto.
Yes, he has juggled so much traffic and a lot of things have happened. But you see, Richard, that's why we're saying if there's a creative way of thinking about stuff, would be able to save and there'll be a lot more success. And that really resonates with our topic today. Richard, what jobs are in the creative industry? We're starting to build these things about our discussion today. What jobs do you think are available? You're already earning out of it.
The creative industry.
Yes.
First, it is so wide. Yeah. People look at the creative industry. When you say creative industry, they think about the creative performance.
Yes.
Yeah. But you see, those aside, we have people behind the scenes, the producers, the guys who do the technical work, and then the creative industry does not just carry the artistically creative or the performing artists. We are living in a time where life has changed. The phone is now a performing space. The internet is a performing space. So you're holding your phone and you have a multitude of stages here. You're free to choose. The people who create all those spaces are also creatives. They are at a very different plane of creativity also. But all creatives are important. Personally, I think to a certain extent we are important in equal measure, because Mr. Eddie Okila is going to have a platform here that is so different from other platforms. And the reason he shaped it that way is to serve a certain, segment of audience, TV viewing content seeking audiences. But Okila will need the performers on. Okila will be the producer. The performers will be there. The writers are going to get jobs. That's why sometimes me in Uganda here, the only way we can have as many creatives incorporated into the creative industry is for those who can create to focus on churning out the art. The more art you put out, the more people you pull into the value-adding chain, of the final products. That I have experienced along the way. When we seek to grow, you create more, and you realize along the way we have, brought in this big number of contributors to the final product.
Well, Richard and Faisal, this is a very interesting part of the show. The jobs that the creative industry have. I want to dive to Faisal in Belgium. Faisal, you've heard from Richard. What jobs do you think we have available in the creative industry?
I think, as Richard said at the beginning, the creative industry is really huge. When we start mentioning the sectors within, I would call them, some are sectors because they're informal, others are industries because they're formal. But there are also those formal and informal industries within the creative industry or the creative arts or the creative behavior, I would say. But the kind of jobs, let's start with, you know what we are doing. So we are in the arts. I'm a programmer, and that whole line of business you are familiar with. Richard is in in theater and comedy, and that chain of business is very familiar to us. We know what they are doing, and I think maybe what is different in this case is like the acknowledgement of the actual number of people or number of jobs that are associated in our line of work. When people see Richard performing at the National Theatre or at the comedy scene, when they do it, their grand shows every month, people don't really understand the amount of work that is put in, leave alone the creative process of writing the skits they do, but also the backstage side. We are talking about costume designers, we are talking about set designers, we are talking about makeup artists, we are talking about communications person, ticketing persons, we are talking about advertising, radio interviews, TV interviews, and all these jobs. And when you look at the people and the amount of effort as well as the amount of to this kind of work, it's appalling. And then these are some of the things that we know. But then when we shift to art forms like new media, when we talk about new media, we're talking about design, graphics, we are talking about advertising, we are talking about software development, we are talking about programming, we are talking about all these things. So when someone sees like Eddie, you're here hosting us, you're in Kampala, and we're talking to each other, they don't imagine the amount of work that was put all us talking to each other live in such a diverse space. So this is creativity, this is programming, this is thinking, this is offering a solution to a need that is identified, maybe not on a daily need, but it's almost something that you need once in a while. So there are so many jobs, they cannot be counted. But what I want to assure our listeners or our viewers is that we have, as within the creative industry, the highest number of employment opportunities. There are so many that need our services in terms of when we get it to work, and there are also those that so many people that we need to make sure that we pull off our events. When I have Baimba Festival as a small example of what happens within our day-to-day life, I have at least 1,500 staff working at one festival. Those include my core staff, they include service providers, they include volunteers, they include interns, they include partners, sponsors, and all these people are at the festival making sure that everything goes on as it is planned. So I cannot start mentioning how many jobs are there, but to be sure, they are very, very many.
Wow. Well, you've heard it from Faisal. Thank you very much, Faisal. Richard, I want to come back to you on this part. And of course, welcoming all the views from everyone who's watching the show. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and all across the world in all our platforms. By the way, we're live on our, www.houseoftalentuganda.com. It's live, it's streaming for everyone across the world, so please enjoy. We want to hear your comments, kisses and disses coming. We love to hear them. We love to hear them. If you're doing well, kiss us. If you think we're doing bad, diss us. We are okay. We are creative people. We take this. Richard,
yes,
you've heard what Faisal just said, and I like the first two questions and three questions. I want to go to the third question, which is what are the types of creativity that we can profit from? We're talking about creativity, and we're always talking about creative people. Faisal just said something very interesting. 1,500 people worked at the concert, a festival. Whenever we see you on stage, we don't understand that the Fun Factory has got a shipload of people behind just Richard to look good on screen and to be looking nice and to speak whatever is speaking nice on stage. Yes. There are a lot of people behind there. So I want to just ask you a question. What type of creativity is there for businesses to harness? Given your experience as a stage performer, as a copywriter, which means you're writing a lot of copies to corporate companies for products to be communicated about, to be consumed. What do you think the types of creativity that is there that we can profit from?
As businesses?
Yes. As individuals as well as businesses,
okay. Yes. You just mentioned some of the most important ones there. You know, first, just the creativity to produce you know, art that can just, you know, touch people's hearts and lift their moods, and maybe also help them think, you know, in certain thought processes that they wouldn't have if they had not consumed certain pieces of art. That creativity is very important. That one is that, I think that is the longest serving kind of creativity for humankind, because I mean, since the medieval times, that kind of creativity is demanded for leisure. Now, creativity for business development, creativity for business development, where some of these there are talents that can be applied in all those places. Now, okay, we have people like me who applied their talents in places in spaces like copywriting, where you use your creativity to nail a message or speak to a company's potential customer, and also speak to the one they have, so that, you know, you need that creativity between you, the brand owner, and the brand consumer. You need some creativity there to keep these people emotionally connected to your product. Yeah. Sometimes you might be good enough at designing the product. But you're not as good enough at gaining and maintaining the confidence and emotional connect to your product. That is when you need people who can, you know, pick that creativity off the stage, apply it in this business space also. The creativity of, you see, the world has become so visual. The world is so visual that if you have a message and you do not design it in maybe typography, you know, you're not going to. You have to apply some typography. So, you know, and creativity has really, to me, we are living in a time where creatives have to be very awake to the fact that the audiences that we are creating for are exposing themselves sometimes much more than we, the creatives.
And they're also becoming creative themselves in their own right.
So they attain a higher level of judgment of your art. That if you do not expose yourself better or more than they are exposing themselves, the audience will run away. It will be 3-4 steps ahead of you, and by the time you wake up to chase this audience and get it. It's not that you're not creative anymore. They have exposed themselves much more. And now, so creatives have to be on their toes, because our audiences are becoming more creative.
Wow. Faisal, we want to dive to you in Belgium. You've had, I think, Richard just said something fundamental to understanding. If a business person is watching, they need to understand where Richard is coming from. If a creative person is watching, they need to understand that if you're not constantly putting your craft together, that audience that you're creating that product for is going to come for you. And once they get exposed, they might age you out, not because you're not doing something right, but because they're already exposed to a manner in which they can judge the product and know what is good and what is not. Just before we go for a break, Faisal, your thoughts on that one? You know, what type of creativity do we have in theater and performing art, as well as, you know, from a programming point of view, as a guy who is always doing stuff for you know, entertainment? Whenever we are stressed, we run to you, and you guys give us relief. Faisal, over to you.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting, and I think, as Richard says, that one of the things that we strive for as programmers is always the consistency and also understanding our audience. Like the Fun Factory guys really mastered the audience. I think they have never really failed to fill a space, whatever big or small they occupy, because they know who their people are and what they want and how to keep them at the edge. I think it's the whole mystery around building audiences. How do you keep your people to they come to you? They are never bored. Speaking for Baimba, we've always developed I don't know what we call it the experiencing audience. Our audience is very experiencing. They always want to see something new. I think from the beginning, we've always challenged ourselves and challenged our audiences to bring in a new feeling of a new art form. That's why we managed to introduce new art forms that were not really much on the market, like video mapping, street theater. We did things like headphone disco. I don't know whether you know that. We know when we started it in 2009. And people always want to see what's new this time at Baimba. And when that drifts away, that you are not able to do the more, then your audience starts wondering what's going on. They start finding or trying to find other opportunities or other options. That's why they run away to other events. But at the same time, it might be also a good thing for you. For example, our cause in programming Baimba has always been about experiencing audience, but at the same time, we forgot about ourselves. Then we took off some 2 years of reinventing our programming, and then the audience was confused. And I didn't blame them, but it was intended to kind of create this kind of tension between, okay, where do we go? Is it still the same Baimba? But they don't know what's coming up for them. And I'm curious how they'll react when the new Baimba comes back. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Faizo. You don't know how somebody just sent a message and says, you don't know how important this program is to me right now. I'm learning something that Richard has just said has tickled somebody. And he said, you don't know how much I've just picked from Richard in that small space. I've always seen him on stage just making us laugh. I didn't know the man can speak too much sense.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment.
I think we should take that as a compliment. You see, Richard, we're going to take a break, but when you come back, we're going to start from that particular point of where people just see you on stage and assume that this is the sum total of the person. And they never know that this person there's more to this person. Well, the creative industry is going for a break, and when we come back, Richard Chiwanje and of course Faizo Chiwewa all the way in Belgium will be giving us a lot bit more about the differences between, you know, the creativity and innovation. These two words are always, you know, confused. And you stay right there, pick a coffee, and when we come back, we want to hear your kisses and disses. If you have some kisses, if you don't have, you know, disses, whatever it is, we're okay. The Creative Ministry Talk will be right back after the break. Young people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Okay. Yes. I want us to talk about the corporate entities, the corporate society. I mean, the money comes from there to the creative art. For a long time, while the creative people are thinking the spaces to create this stuff, you know, most ad agencies are run by creative minds. And these creative minds
handle.
Welcome back from that break. This is Creative Industry Talk, where we sit and discuss things that affect the industry where we are. It's a platform that exists for everyone in the creative space to think. It's a platform that we come together to share ideas. There's a platform that we believe can bring together the creators and, of course, the policymakers on the round table to think and to come up with, very integrative mind maps that allows us to take the industry and the development around our country and our individual projects forward. Of course, Richard, welcome back to the show. And of course, Faizo Chiwewa, all the way in Belgium. We are missing, Jeremy Bemanzi from the advertising sector. We would have had a fantastic moment with him right there. And we hope that Jeremy will be here next week. We think that this series of having Richard and Jeremy coming in and Faizo will run for the next 2 weeks. So if you're missing this one, Richard will be back next week. But we want to hear from you. I'll start by a comment from one Frank Tugume says, I'm always glad to be here. Oh. And a shout out to Richard on the show and as well Faizo. And he says, I don't know how you guys are doing it, but Facebook is off in Uganda, but the show is on. And Faizo just
we are not in Uganda.
Yes, Faizo just gave him a tip on that one of what is going on. Well, Richard, welcome back to the program. I want to take you straight to, there is this, thinking Ugandans usually have, or generally, people always think that they see you on stage and they form an opinion about you.
Yeah.
And most times, because we are not being like politicians or sitting and wearing good ties and something like this, people assume that these are just funny guys. Even the president has said this funny people before. But until your colleague Annington Mujingoze said you're seated here, and then he met the president, and the president said, I was told you have a lot of money, you are rich. Then he says, no, I just have enough for me. But he says, you funny people, where do you get money from? It's just an understanding that people don't have around people. But what's your thought on that one? How do we help people to start seeing that we're actually more serious people than they think we are?
First, I think the people who have that kind of mindset, the mind is a very funny place. What you expose is what they take and they expound on that.
Yes.
It will never end on the stage. So they see Richard acting a school child, they see Richard acting a headmaster, then tomorrow the other show you are a drunkard, they put you in there, they paint a picture of who Richard is, off the stage.
Yes.
And that picture will never be very far from the picture they see here, because you have given them the first brick to build their image of you.
Yes.
So me, personally, if I tell you my experiences as an artist and a creative who applies my creativity in different spaces, because I do professional emceeing for events of different sizes and shapes.
Yes.
But I know people who tell me when I get a gig, for example, they tell me, it was a process getting zeroing down
to you as a
because
person,
the bosses were like,
wanted this person here.
And we told them, this
is
gentleman
is
will
fit
nail it the way we want it.
Yes.
And it's like, but this guy, man, the kind of comedy he does, will he handle this very corporate event? And we see him like they throw around lines like, sio nazanyanga omwana.
Yes.
Sio nazanyanga batamivu. This kind of event.
Yes.
Because you see, certain events I handle they're multinational. The audiences are not just Ugandan. And that goes down. It brings another issue, and all of us artists and creatives in Uganda have been victims of our own
creativity.
That is one, but also not working on our personal brands.
Okay.
It's just recently that we started working on our personal brands, with the help of social media, you know, people get to know the Richard Tuanje, separated from the actor, the comedian, the entertainer. I think it's now, you need to work on your personal brand. That is a given. There are no two ways about it, especially if your money, especially if you want to start earning while you're not performing. Because we are in a time where you need to earn when you're not performing. Because we've tested months where now there's no performance.
1.5 years were.
And believe me, the talents in this city who have worked on their personal brands, and their personal brands speak for their personal brands work up a value for them, they still somehow survive. Compared to those whose brand they know is just on stage, on stage presence. Because then you limit yourself to a talent that only earns per performance. And if you get that and expound on it, build a personal brand, apply your talents elsewhere, or even learn, because a lot of people have talents in this city, but they don't skill the talent. That's another thing. Then also separating the talent from his personality. Also in our audience, because we can never not think about the audience. The audience
is where the money is, where the business is. That's where things come from. It's your product.
In better societies, they know how to tell apart the talent and the personality, because the audiences also have a high understanding now of the arts. Here,
it's different.
Here is different. The audience is still in its infancy on that point. We are still pulling them up to consider the arts a legitimate source of livelihood
and revenue.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, another one has come here and says, I like what Richard is saying. This is now giving us an insight into who he is and what this is about. Thank you very much, Richard. You've changed my opinion of you on this show. I was wondering how you're going to discuss this topic, which seems to be a little bit more of a corporate side of things.
Are you serious?
Faizo Chiwewa, we want to dive to you. They see you with your backpack all the time moving. They don't know you are a person who creates serious stuff. Right now you are in Belgium, while others are in lockdown in Uganda. How are you doing it?
It's the perfect example, by the way.
Faizo, over to you.
I mean, I was just laughing about the comment on Richard, because I find it fascinating. And of course, I mean, you don't, our followers or fans, because for them, as Richard explained, they don't have maybe the opportunity to explore the personality of Richard off stage, but they often on stage and also on skits on social media. That's what they carry. And it's not different from all of us. I mean, even for you, I don't expect you to be or lifting heavy lifts in the gym early in the morning. So this is what happens, like when people don't really tend to have a deeper thought about an individual. But I think, I mean, for me, I don't have a definition of my private or personal work life. It's kind of very intertwined. And of course, I try to keep as much distance, keep the mystery of me. I tend to be very much distanced from people, but I love crowds as well. So, and also maybe the other thing that you guys don't know, I'm very crowd phobic. So when there are too many people, I freak out. So I tend to be always hiding in the corner. That's why I'm always tending to be backstage when we have festivals, because I freak out when I see too many people or between too many people. But yeah, that's a personality. It's something we work on. But I think being what people expect of you, it's really difficult sometimes if you don't person and you just see them and give them form your own opinion, but you know or hear or which I tend to ignore all the time. I think it's also good as you're building the brand of yourself to not to always be distracted by what you hear or know or hear or feel that people are saying or understanding of you, but on your line of work. And that's why for me, that's what I tend to do most of the time.
That's so true.
Well, thank you so much, Faisal, for that one. Richard, you've heard from Faisal. For a man who organizes festivals, is crowdphobic. I don't understand that.
I think it was his way of psychologically fighting back the phobia.
The phobia. Well, thank you very much, everybody who so far sent in their comments. And I don't know why you guys are always sending WhatsApp messages or Facebook messages. I want you guys to comment on the show straight live there and then. Send us your kisses and disses. We're very much welcoming them. Richard.
Yes.
I think you can see where we're coming from. The topic today is about creativity for business success. And I think you've already tackled a little bit of it, that the creativity, the things we have talked about right now, is something that people need to start thinking about. But I want to take you straight to my next question, which is, what is the difference between creativity and innovation, given the background of people's opinion about who Richard is, about who Faisal is, about who Okila is, about who any other, creative mind is? I bring the question to mind, what is the difference between creativity and innovation? Because I think sometimes we mix this thing, and you've said it in a very nice way. You said that as creative people, we were doing a disservice to ourselves. We're being one and the same on stage.
Yes.
And yet we're supposed to be completely different. On television, where I am more comfortable, they say that the character on television is really different from the character you're going to meet on the street. And if you take the person on television to be the person you're going to meet on the street, you're going to be really shocked. And so is on the radio.
Yes.
But dive into it. What is the difference between creativity and innovation when we're talking about success brought about by creativity in business?
That's a tricky question. But if you asked me to put it in one sentence, I'd say all innovation is creativity.
Okay.
But not all creativity is innovative.
Yes. Now you see, that is where it becomes difficult. Yes, you need to expound on that bit, because there's a great line in between there.
Because you need a creative mind behind every innovation. There has to be. I think they are cousins. They are half brothers. Same father, different mother. Because innovation will be mothered by the need to fill a gap. While creativity can keep this new innovation running and growing in itself as an innovation. Because you innovate. The moment you innovate, this is an innovation. This here, this here, what you did, because I've been following. It's an innovation and it is going to grow. You can tell something that is going to grow. HTV is an innovation. But it needs constant refreshment on a creative angle. So I don't think you can really pull them apart. They are together. Creativity is the oil
that keeps running it. Wow. We're talking about creativity for business success in Uganda. It's a part that people don't understand very well. It's a part that either the corporates don't understand very well, or the consumers of the products that are in the market don't understand very well. And the typical case in point is buy Uganda, build Uganda, boo-boo. It's completely confused. We don't understand the line between creative mind.
That is a very long conversation. But to pick from where you are on the corporates and how they don't get it. Man, you see, sometimes you look at the problems. When the problem has arose. But man, we have a backlog of conditioning and tuning. We've come from a system that has taught us that this has to be passed like this. This is when you attain success. Your success is based on when you achieve highly in these parameters. You get it? In these parameters. So we were told to operate, in certain parameters, that it becomes so okay for you not to stand out.
Wow. You're preconditioned to think that way, and that's it.
Yes. Until by the time you realize that, man, you could have done better, is when you are bored of routine. Because these corporates wake up to practice almost the same thing.
Same thing. A friend of mine said, until the day a brand manager is fired from his job, that's the day he started looking for a sheet of paper to write his notes or to print his CV. That's when he realized he has never bought a ream of paper. He didn't know how much it costs. He didn't know how much a pen costs. Then he goes to Nasaro to look for it. I said,
I think the best,
the reality is distracting. Yes,
the best company out of entertainment
yes.
to really look at, to fully understand
yes.
why creativity is important in business
yes.
is Virgin.
Yes.
Okay, the conglomerate of businesses of, Virgin, the umbrella of those businesses.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Richard Branson.
Yes.
That's when if there is no creativity, he considers the business slugging.
Wow. Faizo Chiwewa, what is the difference between creativity and innovation? I mean, a lot of people think that when you're programming a festival, it's one and the same, and that is it. And Richard has just given us a very nice perspective. But over to you, Faizo. What is the difference between creativity and innovation?
Yeah, I mean, I would, Richard, creativity is like the fuel, and then innovation is the engine that needs that fuel to keep on, moving as well. Service always this of finding new ways or new means of keeping, But the thin line between innovation and creativity is really up, I think. Whereas creativity could be just an enhancement of a space. You can, for example, the innovation, as Richard said, that HTV is an innovation. And the creative part of it is the fact that you have to continue creating new programs that are exciting for your followers and your audience. And I think that's the creative process, but the innovation has been done. But what makes innovation, what makes a product to be considered innovative? It's time, the test of time, and the fact that it has to be rendered relevant or useful to the target market or to the target audience. If you innovate a car and no one buys or no one needs to drive it, then it's not a very innovative idea. But you can have a car that you can work with in terms of continuing the process of revamping it, changing the color, or giving it a different style or a different design. It happens all the time, but you're not inventing a new car. You are basically creatively enhancing its look. So we always see innovation as a far process that has to be given time and also approved for the purpose, as well as creativity is the continuation of making sure that things keep exciting people, things keep being different, but also adding on to what is already there.
Richard, you've heard what Faizo said. Let's just get straight to how do we practice creativity, given the context we have now given to it, the flesh we've given to it, for the businesses in Uganda to be more successful?
First, I think one of the key things is to adopt the mindset that nothing can limit imagination.
Yeah.
Imagination cannot be boxed up. It can't be put in it. You have to continuously imagine things better. Yeah. Because if you do not imagine them better, there is no now spark for creativity. Yeah. For example, we when we were starting off, we were trained actors, writers, directors. We had nowhere to get employment. Wow. We definitely, the natural thing to do was to run to theaters, to Bat Valley, National Theatre, look for, where you can be.
There are only 3 theaters, and we're channeling out thousands of people from universities every single year.
And by the way, by the time we finished, I think now conventional type of theatre ensembles were starting to die out slowly. Yeah, so we had like say 3 or 4 that were major. We had the Afri Talent, Eboni's, Bakaimbira, and once in a while Alex Mukulu and a few other creators there. So there was no clear place to be accommodated. Yeah, because they almost have enough. So, lucky enough, there was Philip Luswata who tried to imagine
things.
Imagine something new. Imagine a weekly comedy show. He imagined it, and to us, it was a little crazy.
By taking the young ones who are...
But because he was a lecturer, you know, he dared. He dared. And he said, you know what, if we get space and we have the talents, we can experiment. We shall get a formula. If we don't get a formula, we shall know you can tell the formula is nowhere. Then maybe we can figure out another way. He handpicked talents, and we started figuring out how to do a weekly comedy show. Back then,
which never existed before.
It never existed.
Wow.
There was no weekly comedy shows. Theater was, you know, linear stories. You go sit, watch AfriTalent do a play called Navasangawa, and you seated for 4 hours watching. It was fun. It was entertaining. But how do you stand out if you want now to also start? You have to bring something new. There's always a younger audience. Always. Or there's always an existing audience that has not seen something new.
Wow.
So he dared. He put us in the, you know, thick of things. We tried, and in about a year and a half, a formula had been gotten.
Wow.
After a few 1-2 years, TV saw the value of the show, adopted the show, put it on NTV. The rest was history. So I think with experiences like that, it takes, don't limit the imagination. Whatever is trending, imagine it in a better way. It will spark your creativity. Then you have to dare. You have to dare. You have seen how hard it is for people to take on new ideas. Then you compare the rigidity they had when the idea had just come and how much they are enjoying it after a span of time. Because when we started weekly comedy shows, the ones in the city, even the audience was like, wow,
who is going to watch this thing?
I mean, which Ugandan is going to make me laugh for 2 hours on a weekly basis? So it was a case of, you come. If you don't like, it's okay. The next week, they bring 2 other friends. It was word of mouth, word of mouth. By the time the entire world learned about the weekly comedy show, it had grown to 4 people at TLC to 1,000 people in the upper gardens of the National Theatre.
Wow.
But now the trick is, now it is we who also have to
reinvent it. Or the innovation has to be continued being oiled by the creativity, as you said. Wow. Well, we are talking about, you know, how do we, you know, creativity, how do we make money out of creativity? How can creativity make businesses successful in Uganda? You know, Richard is giving us a masterclass with Faizo on this one here, something that you've talked about that people don't usually take very seriously, Richard. I've heard people say, I want to show me the numbers. I only see 1 or 2 people. Show me the numbers. And you've just unpacked the whole mystery behind the numbers. That 4 people is now 1,500. But it did not start with 1,500.
True.
And for me, something that I've learned from you right now is that if you continue being consistent with whatever you are doing, if you dare, you repeated the word, if you dare, you said it 3 times, then it's going to pay off. But many times we don't know how to keep the consistency of daring to do something new.
We give up very easily.
And one time a young person told me, says, well, boss, I'm not going to eat creativity. So, and so off he walked the door. And he says, the Nagala Sente, if you don't have money, kindness is not going to pay me. I don't want to eat this. But that's a story of everyone. So Richard Chiwanje, Faizo Chiwewa, we're going to have to let Faizo run for his meeting. We are now talking about the global village.
You know,
Faizo has been on the show, is running for his next meeting in Belgium, where he caught a train this morning. Imagine the day we can do that in Kampala. We'll catch a train to be in Congo, to do a show in Congo, in Tanzania.
He shall come. That time will come. I hope we shall be alive.
Yes.
We are going to contribute to the coming of those things.
Exactly.
It's a fantastic time to be
Yes,
alive.
so we're going to take another break, and when we come back, Richard Tuwanja and I are going to continue with the show until the end, while we're missing Faizo, who is running for his meeting. Stay right there, Creative Industry. We'll be back after this break. Young people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They have moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Be applicable to most of us in the industry. One, most of them want to work with an institution, or let's say a registered company. They want to come to Faizo, and Faizo is Bayimba, but they want to talk to him as Bayimba. You know what I'm saying? So there's a way they do their things because of probably how their structure is designed. You know, so maybe we also as creatives we need to have, what's the right word? We need to have, or to put that effort, see ourselves organized.
Okay.
I think that's the problem we have. We're everywhere.
And nowhere.
And nowhere at the same time. When Faizo suggests that, hey guys, I have given you a week, come to the island, let's brainstorm about how we can make these things work. One is going to go like, I don't know if Faizo. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, our idea is
then
going to just take
then he goes and whatever. You see it. So we've got all these kind of hurdles. And I think why the corporates are probably not even coming in to give a hand is because they don't even know where to start from. They don't know where. Bababu's auntie, for example, if they ask filmmakers, Mudiwa, where do they go to? You see what I'm saying?
They have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think they have nowhere to go to. Then, of course, we have UCC. I think UCC, that's one of the biggest hurdles we have.
It's about, collect this from these guys.
Yes,
not be part of
that's
the process of the growth.
That's really unfortunate. But I pray that we sit with them on one table and make this work. That's why I think probably, and that's the biggest reason. That's why I think the corporate department hasn't come.
Welcome back from that break. I hope you've gotten a little bit of what we have been talking about here. There's that discussion with Musta where we're talking about creative spaces in Uganda. For the first time in the history of Uganda, we actually have a creative space, Richard, in Uganda. There are 2 creative spaces for creative people to go. So you don't longer now need to put on your backpack and you wear your shorts and enter the restaurant and then you think, mulalo una tu se. Because you're wearing shorts, you've entered in a high profile, sort of like restaurant and
give you the food bill and the account bill.
Yes, at the same time, and then you go. So we're talking about that on the show, creative spaces, and we wanted to connect this to this business discussion that we're having. Richard, thank you very much, first of all, for the last part of the show. I want to take you straight to, what does creativity bring to business success, in your opinion?
Creativity allows you to stay ahead of the pack. it helps you become the trendsetter. You know, humankind is set in a way that they will always have a thing for the pioneer of things.
Yeah.
So we see it, if you think about these big corporations we see in Uganda and how they advertise and the different promotions they bring, you will somehow the target market will always have the pioneer front of mind. So for me, creativity, that is how important it is, because you will get the masters, you will be an A-lister on the papers. But if you do not know how to channel, because there is not one company in the arts or in business, as we know it, there's not a company that hires more than 10 people, and all of them are not creative. There is always creativity in a company. But every organization has to have a leader that knows how to harness that creativity.
That's the point. That right there, you've spoken it.
Yes, because it's man. You know, our society. You know, sometimes I think it is in our conditioning, in our bringing up, when people attain positions of leadership. They wear the boss clock, you know, instead of, you know,
a servant person.
You know, that is when now you need to be part of the other ones and know who is going to be coupled with who to achieve something. You know, creativity is all over the place. Harnessing it is a challenge.
So, in other words, you're saying every business needs to have that one leader, that one person who harnesses the creativity in the team that they have in order for that business to be successful.
Yes, if they don't have that leader might come and go, but a system has to be created, or activities. It could be just activities, regular activities. That if a consistency is kept, a lot of our ideas will bounce off creative people and create one big thing.
Wow. Well, that is one takeaway from Richard right there. How can businesses harness from creativity to be successful in Uganda? Richard, let's dive to the next one. I want to just go to this next question. Why is creativity very important for the success of a business, in your opinion? Why is creativity very important for the success of our businesses?
For me, creativity is I'll take you a little bit back from what I mentioned. Is you don't want to start something for just starting sake. Businesses have to grow. Businesses have to grow in revenue and in how many lives a business touches. You know, so creativity is very important for growth, because business is not about just growth of revenue. Creativity is very important for growth of any kind of organization.
In other words, Richard, you're saying, even as an individual, if I am not creative, there's nowhere, I can't wear this exact same shirt over and over. Even Balaam had to change his t-shirt at some point. We're used to Balaam wearing one type of t-shirt, and then at some point he had to change. So you're saying that we've got to be, it's important, creativity is important in business success as good as in an individual life, that we are reinventing ourselves over and over, and we're thinking about these things over and over. Richard, in that context, how does creativity facilitate the business growth, or how can it facilitate a business growth in Uganda? Take, for example, you guys of the Fun Factory. You started at the backyard of Kampala, and now you are in the city of Johannesburg, and, you know, springing out from there and going to the rest of Africa. And I'm sure soon enough, somebody's going to see you from Hollywood and say, these guys, Annington was here and was telling us how you're producing, you know, 14 different skits every single week. He says that we're the only group in the entire Africa who has managed to do this.
Entire Africa. And then in the world, I think it's only Fun Factory at Saturday Night Live that do a weekly sketch comedy show. Maybe somewhere in the Orientals, Japan, you know, but sketch comedy.
New
show every week. I think that contributes to why, you know, we worked out a formula. We've been working together for a long time.
Yeah.
We figured out each other's strengths, and we know I could be good, but I'm better when I'm with Dixon Zizinga.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly how I and him can gel well together and create something bigger than if he did a skit on his own.
Yeah.
So that tags into what I explained earlier. You know, creativity is there, harnessing it can be a problem. It is very easy to have Fun Factory and not to have a breakthrough till now. Yeah, because humans are humans. You have to know the creativity alone cannot be the winning horse.
Yeah.
So you're saying, how does it facilitate business growth?
Yeah.
I think, you know, whether we like it or not, whether formally or informally, we research. We research. Some people start businesses because they went around, they had, it is basically accidental research.
Yes.
But if we in the creative business accept and manage our creative business as well as businesses are managed, because it is a business,
yes,
then we need to research.
So research and development is equally very important.
When you research and you know exactly what they want, and you already have this creativity,
yes,
yeah, it will just boom.
Wow.
Because for us now,
yeah,
you know, Ugandans are the only kind of talents that can entertain all English-speaking Africa.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are watching Nigerian movies here.
Yes.
Like they used to. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now they are watching our content.
Yes.
But our research shows that when Ugandan dramas go to West Africa,
yeah,
West Africans find our dramas more superior.
Yes. To theirs.
To theirs.
Actually, a friend of mine, Uti Nwachuku, who was in Big Brother, wrote to me
yes,
one time and I was saying the same thing, yeah.
Now, you see, I'm going to tell you two stories here that will surprise you. But it is such yes, research, yeah, not you know, formally commissioned, yeah, that now allows us to even open the you know, yeah, target wider. Yes. You know, because Zambia, Malawi, Ghana, Nigeria, yeah, Zimbabwe, even South Africa, yeah, and Tanzania and Kenya can be our audience. Because before lockdown, we used to stream our show for 2 hours. And little did we know, it was Zambians and Malawians that were making the numbers. Yes. Until you act in Uganda, then you see comments. Banang, please go back to English. Yes. Yes. Then when you check their profiles, Malawi, Zambia, Kenya, Rwanda. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It is that good for us, yeah, yeah, to capitalize on that. There's a time we had a TV drama called The Hostel, yeah, and it was airing on all Africa Magic channels, yes, at some point. Yeah. So Ghana and Nigeria were watching. Yeah. A friend of mine called me and told me, Richard, I'm going to win a bet here of $300. Yeah. The Ghanaians who I'm watching The Hostel with think you guys are Zimbabwean. They think Uganda cannot produce this kind of, yes, stuff. He told them, wait for the credits and you will see. He won the bet, long, yes, story cut short. And he told me, Richard, yes, make it a point to create, yes, for English-speaking West Africa. And, well, that we knew years ago. But the resources to achieve that, the only way, the best way to do it is to now entertain Africa digitally. So now, Fun Factory might need Eddie, yeah, as a consultant. Yes. So, yes, so really, I don't think creativity alone can be a winning horse. Yeah. Research, yeah, and development. Research and development, and then you know, okay, we can create in this line, yeah, but the money, according to what we now know, yeah, will come from Rwanda and, wow, Kenya and Tanzania. Wow.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. You've heard from Richard. In fact, I want to allow Richard to read this by himself. This is probably the longest of a comment here. I want you to read that comment loud to everyone. This is coming because sometimes when I read the comment, people say yes, yes.
This is thanks a lot, Mr. Richard, Tuanje, Kofi, and Chiwewa. I still think more thought should be put into which word is this?
Yes. Just want to
delineating.
To delineating, delineating the arts, yes,
and cultural sector,
yes,
creative sector,
yes,
and separate it from the umbrella creative industry,
yes,
especially to support policy and decision making.
Yes.
A businessman selling healthcare products is part of the healthcare industry,
yes,
but not a healthcare professional simply because healthcare is well delineated. Please excuse us if we don't pronounce
delineating very well.
Yeah, I'm from Chiruhura. You cannot run away from yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense that we clearly delineate. Yes. I think it's delineate.
Yes.
Delineate the arts, yes, and culture sector.
Yes.
Yeah, from the big umbrella, creative industry.
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree? It is also possible. This is more academic and less practical. I agree with him.
Yes.
I
also agree with him.
I really agree with him.
Yeah.
We need to delineate it. We need to create a proper lane,
yes,
for the creative the arts and cultural sector.
Yeah.
Though it's fueled by creativity, but it's the arts, and culture sector.
Yes.
What we can just say is, at some point, if creativity has to help business growth,
yes,
some basics don't change.
Yes. Which is always a constant.
Yes.
And Richard, I want to just put this to my brother there. Thank you very much. First of all, my brother, Mr. Keith Nyende. You raised a fantastic point right there. And teacher Mpaire says, I love this conversation. So that's a
by the way, Keith, I know Keith. Keith is one of the brightest cultural entrepreneurs in our times.
Yes.
That guy was the brainchild behind Nyege Nyege.
Wow.
Wow. He was the first person to imagine wider,
yeah,
and dare,
yes,
to do a festival on the Nile.
Yes. Wow. And thank you very much, Keith. Thank you very much, Teacher Mpare, for being a part of the show. I want to dive straight to a comment coming all the way from Australia. Dennis in Australia is always a constant guy watching the show. Wow. Eddie Okila, thank you very much for bringing Richard Coffey onto the show. Is one of my favorite actors out of Uganda. He keeps me out of home, happy. I am glued to, watching the Fun Factory all the way. I live in Sydney. And thank you very much for bringing these guys always on the show. Tell Richard to continue channeling out the things that I love. And people don't understand that this particular discussion is good for us because we don't usually get sort of like the interesting ideas that come out of Uganda. There's no TV that looks after the people who are in the diaspora. So Richard, shout out to you.
We're just having that conversation because you came back.
Yes. And I want to go to a WhatsApp message here coming from the US. First of all, shout out to Coach Anthony Ndaula and of course, my professor from another mother, Professor Penny Nachayo, Assistant Professor for Design Communication, Washington University. Ugandans are in big places.
You are rubbing shoulders with the...
And
I need to get in touch with her.
And she always said that we need to come with a design identity for Uganda.
That's
design identity for Uganda. So Professor Penny Nachayo, thank you so much. Yes,
that is very important.
And Anthony Ndaula, I want to dive out to JB Atine all the way in Belgium. Says is always loving the discussion. JB is into the IT sector in Belgium, and these are big people doing serious consultancy in outside countries, as we say it in Uganda. Guys, shout out to all of you guys. I want to go straight to my brother from another mother in Denmark. Eddie Okila, thank you very much for bringing Richard to Wanje. Faisal and Richard today nailed the show. I wish Faisal wasn't running. I would want to hear more coming from those fellows about how we can actually make money out of creativity. Most businesses in Kampala, back in Kampala, think that creative people are crazy, but no one will buy a tomato that is packed in a sack, but I will buy a tomato which is nicely packaged and put in the kavera that I can see with a label made out of Uganda or product of Uganda. That's what creativity does.
Wow.
Wow.
And you see, simple. It's just usually a simple twist.
Yes.
Yeah, that creates another breakthrough.
Yes.
And you see, most of the creative ideas that change the world or change sectors or bring in new trends, you look at the idea and you're like, whoa, how is it that I didn't think about that? you know.
Because the smallest thing, Richard, are usually the most difficult thing to people to say. That's why creative people needs to be paid money.
Yes,
because
I
the
know.
thing that you're looking at it as very small
I know.
is usually the biggest thing that people are looking for. And I want to dive straight to South Africa before we we need to go back and finish the show. That gentleman on the show is my best actor in that comedy show. I am a guy who love watching the things. It's an amazing to see him at that calm, that professional, and out of the stage, out of character. And actually discussing how we can take things. I'm a Ugandan living in South Africa. This channel is my place to be.
Wow.
Wow. And thank you very much, guys. I want to just take Richard back to the show. I told you to send your kisses, and this is coming. If you think we're not doing well, please diss us. If you think we're doing well, kiss us. Richard, this discussion, I know it's going to be a very important discussion to most people. And of course, we're going to be looking more into having a discussion with you going forward. How does creativity, Richard, or rather, my last question to you actually for the day, why is creativity very important for an entrepreneur? The world describes Uganda as the most entrepreneurial country in the world.
Yes.
But Ugandan businesses that are usually started, as they always say, die before they see the next birthday. In fact, to me, we don't go beyond 6 months of our existence. And people always wondering that Ugandans are very creative, they're very entrepreneurial, but how businesses don't go beyond that. Richard, there's a university or an organization that did research, studies about entrepreneurship, you know, about Uganda as being the most culturally diverse country in the world.
True.
And I think the Virgin, you know, sort of like paid money for that research to come out. Now, all of this research is about Uganda, it's about the people out of Uganda, it's about Africa, it's about why is it that our businesses don't go beyond that? And today we're talking about creativity for business success in Uganda. Yes. My last question to you for the show is, why is creativity important for an entrepreneur? Because most people start businesses and think that they're just going to run. I don't need a designer, I don't need a copywriter.
That's true. It is very important for an, you know, at the core, the simple basic of being an entrepreneur is you're presenting something new, or you're solving a big problem in a new way, that is maybe you're making it comfortable for your target audience, or cheaper, you know, or you have basically killed or presented something new to buy and give people an experience. Because I think we can never think from the standpoint of the entrepreneur. We have to think from also the standpoint of the buyer.
Yes.
You know, what is the experience? Or what is the convenience that you are causing? Now that means you cannot come and do exactly what has been around. Now for me, in my thinking, I think that is the biggest problem with entrepreneurs or business startups. There's a syndrome we have as Ugandans. We come to fit in. We want to fit in. You think you can be a good singer, you come to fit in into what is happening. You think you can enter the whatever kind of business, you come to fit in, not to present it in a better or different way or convenient way for the end consumer. So for me, that is the challenge. Now, if you are not going to fit in, you need to have creativity. You need to work with teams. Like I told you, Fun Factory is made of like 10, 12 very creative minds. But Dixon's creativity amplifies mine, or mine gels well with his, and a big product is created. Dixon alone can earn all the money he wants if he's well managed. And I can. But if we figure out,
come together,
what we want to bring on the table, if we want to sell it to, say, entire Uganda and Bantu-speaking, Africa, then we have to put together a team and hit it. So for me, don't fit in. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to fit in. Twist what has been around. And how are you going to do it if you don't get creative teams together? But I don't know, we need a creative hub in Uganda where you know, this is my idea, but I need a brain like Okilas, then I need so and so. Where we are so weak also in Uganda is we are so weak on partnerships.
Because we're very individualistic in our nature, in our thinking. You know, we're quite very myopic and quite very mediocre-ish in a way of doing things, if the word exists. I'm talking about the word mediocrity striving where there's ignorance.
In Uganda, man, mediocrity is a standard. It is a standard, as in they hit it like chukubie.
Well, guys, I told you this show is going to be very interesting. Richard, we're going to bring the show to a close. Creativity for innovation and profit. What's your score?
Creativity for innovation
and profit. Yes, what's your score?
How I've done over the years.
Yes.
I think I am happy that I am above average. 6, and I know now how to earn the other portion that I have not.
The 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Man, it is a good thing to be consistent. Along the way, we had many reasons to give up, man. Many reasons to give up. But man, bro, if you have a dream, if you see what it can be 10 years from where you're standing, it gives you a reason to keep going. While you think it is big, you might even hit it in 4 years, and then, you know. So let's say I'm there, 6.57. You're going to be seeing what we are creating. By the way, personally, I'm happy COVID came.
So it wasn't really negative. As
No. For example, it's because we are not here to specifically talk about what we did, or is it okay?
Please, yes.
When we went for total lockdown, it hit us. You know, we had a weekly comedy show at the National Theatre. Every week we do 52 shows. Fresh new shows. Then we have for the affluent Kampala who wants to pay 100,000 shillings. Then we have some at the Serena that reports there. But now this is total lockdown. We went into lockdown. We thought it was going to be 1 month. It became 2. It became 3.
90 days became 140.
Towards the end of the second month, we figured things were not going to be the same again. So we got what our craft and what we used to produce. It was the raw material we used to churn out comedy shows. So we decided now to use this craft to produce content that fits the times, awareness about the COVID. But the water had to be comedy. We had to crack people up.
The ingredient was was that.
We had to crack people up. They needed to laugh in their
The world was stressed. The world needed some laughters.
You know, when we went into lockdown, our videos would have, say, 100,000 views from the previous night. 100,000 from the previous night. But now, during total lockdown, when we started putting out really funny content, that is bearing, had a bearing around the COVID-19. You put it up, and in 24 hours it has 600,000 viewers. So we went on with that. And when we started, partners were watching. Not partners then, partners now.
Because they never come at the beginning of it. Musta said they need to come now, because if they're not part of us now. In fact, Pfizer said,
by the time
the corporates don't come now, we don't need the corporate. We will be corporation ourselves.
But you see, we have a big part to play on teaching them how powerful, how really powerful the arts are in driving business. Because
which is the essence of this show today.
You know,
please.
And you see, for us, that is how we have survived, by using the craft now in a different space. So we did that. Mastercard came on board, Twaweza, and that's how we've been doing it. Now, why I say we need to teach now the business sector how important the arts are. I do advertising copywriting. Sometimes I sit in boardrooms and they are giving me briefs, and they really want an ad that can touch people, not just communicate. But most cases, you go through a session of schooling them on why what you're creating will work. Because it is, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but most people who preside over big offices that make decisions on how a product is going to be communicated with the brand, we still have a lot of them who operate textbook. proper textbook.
It's a standard operating procedure.
Yes, these are the parameters.
Yes.
But we guys know the temperature of the audiences.
Yes. And the consumers.
Yes, so you have to tell them, if you really want to do mass market, we are going to get off this lane a bit, put one foot this side. So there's always that fear of risking, because they are not managing their own money, some of them.
And they often take back the budget. Navi was here on the CEO bench and he says, I really get mad when the marketing manager is taking back the budget meant for marketing, and he's taking it back. That person should be fired, because why would you be given a budget for market things and you're taking it back? Well, Richard, thank you very much for coming to the show today. We will definitely be bringing you back next week to discuss the importance of creativity in making businesses successful. We've started the drumming of these things. What are the importance of creativity in business, and how can we harness that, processes and the importance of that to make businesses more successful in Uganda? Everyone is crying in Uganda or in Africa or across the world, but I think that we can do something that will allow us to get there, allow us to understand how we can use creativity for businesses to be successful in Uganda. Once again, I want to say thank you so much for coming to the show. And of course to Faizo, your final parting shot. By the way, excuse me, you are heavily, requested to come on the show by so many people. When we started the creative spaces, and we brought, most to talk about the creative spaces, and Faizo is a resident panelist here. They said the next topic, when you're moving away from creative spaces, you need to bring people who are going to tell us how creativity can be used in business for it to be successful. And overall, there was a lot of nomination for you to come onto the show. There's a lot of vote for, my brother from another mother, Jeremy Biemanzi, to come on the show. Wow. And our job is to make sure you come to the program.
That is very flattering, because I don't think I've informed myself very well, but I'm on that path.
Yes.
But what I know is, we are not in a bad place, but there's a lot of growth we can achieve. And most importantly, we need to inspire the generations that are coming after us, because we have a generation that really wants things to be easy. When
and
we want,
they're not grounded, it might be very problematic.
Lucky enough, they are in a time where actually things can get easier than they were for us. If they get to know the basics and what to do while you keep the patience on.
Well, thank you very much, Richard. Creative industry has come to an end, but we want to close up the show by allowing Richard. He said at the beginning of the show that he's doesn't know whether he's a musician or he's a singer, so we want to know. He's going to close up the show with that part of the show. Is he a musician or a singer? You're going to vote for yourself. Over to you, Richard.
I'm a singer who sings for fun.
Yes.
Yes. So I get surprised when people pay. But anyway, do you know I started out as a singer?
Yes.
Something I shocked myself.
Yes, and also see what the target you had in you. Yes.
Had I known what I know now,
yes, yes,
then
yes,
I don't know, I would have had to fly in for this interview.
All right, guys, the creative industry, it's a wrap from us here. Richard Ediokila, Faizo Chiwewa in Belgium, and to all of you guys all across the world, we want to say thank you. And to the crew here that makes this camera and the lighting and the things looks really beautiful, we want to say thank you. It is a teamwork, not Okila work, that makes things happen. Until next week, we'll be talking about the importance of creativity in making businesses successful, both in Uganda and all across the world. Stay right there. We'll be right back next week. Signing out, Ediokila, Richard, Faizo. It's a wrap.
Thank you.
Young people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call I never call it Facebook. It's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
An army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. That's a fake.
Yes.
So let's be very honest about this thing and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong, just like a lion. You know, when a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away. And yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion. They are heavier than the lion. They are more intelligent than the lion. They are taller than the lion. They run away. The lion, because of its attitude, it sees lunch. That is a leader.
Mr. Tony Trav, thank you very much for coming to the CEO bench. And I want to ask you, so if you were elected the President of the Republic of Uganda today, what would be your first State of Nation address? Now, as you look into the camera and close the show.
I think my first State of the Nation address would first of all to... I think I'll just close it down.
private sector is not yet fully utilized, because not everybody can be employed by government. And we are looking at a future whereby more people are employed in the private sector than in government. So I think if we all work hard, if we all work together and invest in the right areas, there's been a lot of talk about value addition in the agriculture sector, in the mineral sector. If there is enough investment in those areas, I think it can create enough jobs for our children and grandchildren.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to take you to question number 4, Andrew, which is, let's talk about your journey at City Hall and the foray into the Executive Director's office, which is as Andrew Chitaka,
Very
as
interesting.
well as the Director Engineering.
Very interesting. I joined KCCA on 1st November 2011. And before then, I was
for so much.
CEO
of whatever. They give so much.
This is the reason why you're actually on the bench.
Because of my credibility. Thank you so much. But now they attack you, they vilify you. And the goal is to weaken you financially. Is to weaken your honor. These are slanderers. So I'm glad that someone would stay up at night to ask and learn about me. And I pray that in the next 2 months, because I know many Ugandans who travel overseas, when they go there, one of the things, because the media has been so much, and Sam Kutesa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, has really not done a good job. He has dropped the ball on this issue. Why? So many of us are being accused of being gay killers, including me. You've just heard that person. Uganda is being accused that we kill gays, which actually is absolutely untrue. And because of this, it has affected our tourism. It affects people who go overseas to do work or study. It affects whenever you go to a conference. Hi, my name is Eddie Okiela. Oh, where are you from? I'm from Uganda. Oh, you are the gay killers. And then you begin to describe. So one of the things that I've done is I've written a book, which should be coming out. I know that I keep saying the same thing, but the work of doing a book takes a long time, and I wish I could be supported. You know, many people who write on this subject, like Sylvia Tamale, she's supported by the Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie Foundation. There is money.
Is a very big brand, and as we go on, we will probably discuss the things we're trying to do to see that things change for the better.
Good. Sean, on the CEO bench, for everyone who is following, we're live on our YouTube studio where we actually stream from. So YouTube studio, for everybody asking for a link, is actually House of Talent Uganda.
Confident in themselves and what they are offering. I think that's the biggest problem. Like, women will easily settle for a less pay than men would.
Mona Onyeto Deke goes on to say, or I think this is a comment, says, I didn't know that beauty products are taxed at 60%. Whoa.
They are. I pray that changes soon, but they are.
So with that challenge of 60%,
setting up the company, you're doing tours all across the world. You know, a personal account is great, but how these things are taxed becomes important for your business later on. As soon as you cross that threshold of 50 million a year, you know, you're now in
the interest become more share.
Yes.
My name is Eddie Okila. I'm a fitness coach and I'm very passionate about health and fitness of a human being. I believe that your health and fitness is equal to the sum total of your wealth. You cannot make money when you are not fit and healthy, and neither can you wake up in the morning to go and work to get paid to have money if you're sick. Why do you have to find a fitness coach, not a gym instructor? It's because a gym instructor is trained for only two things or one thing: teach you how to use the machine whenever you show up in the gym. That's it. But a fitness coach is going to tell you, number one, I need to understand where you're coming from. Number two, I need to understand your muscle systems. Okay. Number three, I need to understand and study your cardiorespiratory capacity. Is it good enough before I even put you anywhere to start doing anything called exercise? So today, I'm going to focus on two things. Using just push-ups. And the push-up is going to help you build your chest. It's going to help you improve your cardiorespiratory capacity. That is if you're doing them as a set, but not just as one thing. So I'm going to answer the question of what exercise you can start with. Follow the video and let's get into it. Everything you do must be done in 3 sets. Okay, so we're going to start. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with the volleyball block jumps, what we call the quick jumps. So put your hand up like this and count from 3 to 1 when everybody is set, and then you start. So 3, 2, 1. So that will be your first set, okay? You're just getting yourself warmed up. So we're going to the first set of jumping jacks. And I'm starting with my shoulders open, okay? Working everybody. Okay, that will be your first set. And when you've done the first set of jumping jacks, go back and do your second set of the volleyball jump. Everything we do in the workout must be done in 3 sets. That is your second set, okay, of the jump. You're going to get some pain if you're doing it for the first time, and that's when you'll know that you've actually worked out. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. That will be your second set, okay? Make sure those 3 sets are done. You see I'm already sweating, right? I've not done the running like the president did because I don't have a bigger sitting room like the president, okay? Neither do I have an office bigger like the president. But what I have is I'm working within 1 meter confinement. So we're going for the third set of jumping jacks. 3, 2, 1, let's go, okay? That's your third set. See what is going on, okay? No big place needed, but you have to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, okay? And which muscles to work on. That is very important for your workout, okay? So, lock down and lock you out. You're not allowed to move out, but this you can still do it here. I'm improving. This is what we call cardiorespiratory capacity building, okay? Your aerobic capacity. Again, there's something I need to talk about. Every time you go to the hospital and doctors tell you, oh, we have treated you now, so you go and do exercise. Where do they send you? They have to send you to a person like me who understand the things they don't understand. The doctor don't know how to work on the muscle themselves. So in other words, I tell you, do this if you want to prevent yourself from getting this, which is before you get to that person. So when the doctor sends you back from the hospital and say, go and do exercise, that process is called restoration. For you to restore that, you need a person who understands human kinetics very well. You need a person who understands the human muscles and how they work very well. We're about to finish our workout from where we started. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Take the right leg and pull it straight. Take the left one and pull it straight. Put your stomach up. All right, we're going for the last set of push-up. Never changes. Maintain everything to the core. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go, coach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Up. Sit. Ready? And stomach. 3 sets. Elbow down. Elbow here. Ready to go? Okay. Counting 3, 2, 1. Coach, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 6. Okay? You have finished your workout for the day. See you next time. Stay safe.
The private sector is not yet fully utilized because not everybody can be employed by government. And we are looking at a future whereby more people are employed in the private sector than in government. So I think if we all work hard, if we all work together and invest in the right areas, there's been a lot of talk about value addition in the agriculture sector, in the mineral sector. If there is enough investment in those areas, I think it can create enough jobs for our children and grandchildren.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to take you to question number 4, Andrew, which is, let's talk about your journey at City Hall and the foray into the Executive Director's office, which is as Andrew Chitaka,
Very
and
interesting.
as well as the Director Engineering.
Very interesting. I joined KCCA on 1st November 2011. And before then, I was
for so much. CEO of whatever. They give so much.
This is the reason why you're actually on the bench.
Because of my credibility. Thank you so much. But now they attack you, they vilify you. And the goal is to weaken you financially. Is to weaken your honor. These are slanderers. So I'm glad that someone would stay up at night to ask and learn about me. And I pray that in the next 2 months, because I know many Ugandans who travel overseas, when they go there, one of the things, because the media has been so much, and Sam Kutesa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, has really not done a good job. He has dropped the ball on this issue. Why? So many of us are being accused of being gay killers, including me. You've just heard that person. Uganda is being accused that we kill gays. which actually is absolutely untrue.
Yeah.
And because of this, it has affected our tourism. It affects people who go overseas to do work or study. It affects whenever you go to a conference. Hi, my name is Eddie Okela. Oh, where are you from? I'm from Uganda. Oh, you are the gay killers. And then you begin to describe. So one of the things that I've done is I've written a book, which should be coming out. I know that I keep saying the same thing, but the work of doing a book takes a long time, and I wish I could be supported. You know, many people who write on this subject, like Sylvia Tamale, she's supported by the Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie Foundation. There is money.
Is a very big brand, and as we go on, we will probably discuss the things we're trying to do to see that things change for the better.
Good. Sean, on the CEO bench, for everyone who is following, we're live on our YouTube studio where we actually streaming from. So YouTube studio, for everybody asking for a link, is actually House of Talent Uganda.
Confident in themselves and what they are offering. I think that's the biggest problem. Like, women will easily settle for a less pay than men would.
Okay. Yeah. Mona Onyeto Deke goes on to say, or I think this is a comment, says, I didn't know that beauty products are taxed at 60%. Whoa.
They are. I pray that changes soon, but they are.
Okay. So with that challenge of 60%,
setting up the company, you're doing tours all across the world. You know, a personal account is great, but how these things are taxed becomes important for you know, for your business later on. As soon as you cross that threshold of 50 million a year, you know, you're now in
the interest become more share.
Yes.
it is a CEO bench. My name is Eddie Okela, and my guest this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, depending on which part of the world you are actually catching the CEO bench from, is Irene Esther Mutuzo, a young girl springing out from the suburb of Kampala, Uganda, the capital city of Uganda. And of course, going around the world and doing many things across the world. She's a lady on a rise, the young lady on a rise to the top. And with about 25 nominations to come to the CEO bench, we of course have Irene this afternoon or this morning or this evening on the CEO bench. Irene, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and it's such a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. Yes. And we just want to know, who is Irene Mutuzo in a nutshell? Are you Ugandan? If yes, where do you come from? What are the values that define you as a person?
Okay. So Mutuzo Irene Esther is a Ugandan. I come from Kisoro. I was born in Kampala, particularly Mulago Hospital. I am a firstborn of two very great parents, my dad and my late mom. We are four in our family, that is me and my siblings. I love people. I love to speak. I love to write. In my work, I work as the head of business growth and PR at Liwala, which I'll be talking more about. I also love to write poetry and perform poetry. The values that define me, well, I'm a Christian, and I believe that our lives are sort of like a masterpiece that God has built. and we are here to serve. So for me, it's more on godly principles, things like humility, things like forgiveness, things like listening to others, treating others well. So those are the different values that define who I am. And hard work and learning, continuous learning, being humble to always know that I don't know it all. So I need to learn.
Wow.
And there's always something to learn from someone.
Yeah.
Whatever category they are at, whatever class they are at, there's always something to learn from everyone.
Wow. Well, welcome to the show. This is Irene Mutuzo, who is our guest this morning on the CEO Bench, or this afternoon, this evening, depending on which part of the world you're watching the show. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone all across the world, all our brothers and sisters in the US, those who are staying up late to catch the CEO Bench. And of course, Dennis is in Australia, and of course, Professor Penny Nachayo, the Assistant Professor for Design Communication, Washington University. Welcome to the program. I hope we'll be able to put everyone to sleep. And Irene, what a moment in a journey that we're going to have this morning. I want to just take you straight to the story of Irene Mutuzo. Growing up, did you ever see yourself being where you are today?
Honestly, no. and I'll tell you, and I like to share this story because, you know, it defines me. So growing up, I actually used to struggle with stammering. And even to date, on the days I'm not mentally prepared, you'll notice that I will stutter a lot, or I will have a lot of long pauses in between my sentences, because those have become my coping mechanisms. And I remember in my S1 at Navisunsa Girls School, I'd actually, you know, going in, I'd got into the debating club, and then I realized that I loved to speak. I could actually speak if I put my mind to it. And I actually made an impression, and I was given an opportunity to read the news on a Monday assembly.
At school?
At school. Well, I practiced and practiced, and I went to read the news. I get to the podium, and I don't know what happened, but I froze. I literally froze and kept stammering and stuttering, and for lack of a better word, it was a disaster. And I walked away from that podium, vowing never to speak in public. Lest I embarrass myself. But I remember, and a couple of weeks later, I kept shying away from public speaking opportunities until I told myself, you know what, I can let this define me, or I can rise up from it. So I kept, you know, I went back to debating. I went back to learning how to speak. I got into speech competitions. Did I win them? Not really, but I kept getting better at it. And even today, I'm getting better at it. And I always share that story because now in my adult life, I literally speak every day for a living.
Wow.
And even in my previous roles, I've been in marketing, I've been in PR, I've been in communication. I never ever thought that's the path I would take. But you know, things happened. I always thought I would probably be an engineer or a doctor. Then somewhere in my S6, then that's when I realized, okay, I love to speak, so I thought I would be a lawyer. Then I realized that I want to understand people, and I love to understand people. So I get into psychology, and then I realized that there's a lot more about people to learn from and to share and communicate.
Wow. Irene, let me take you back a little bit. For all our guests and rather viewers viewing the show from all across, you know the world, and people who do not know you very well. As a young girl growing up in Uganda, you earlier on stated that you spring or come out from, you know, Kasese.
Kisoro.
Kisoro.
Yes.
So
I'm a Mufumbira.
Yeah. So if I'm watching this show and I want to know what happened in Kisoro, and this girl I'm seeing now, all nice, beautiful, put together, but I don't know where this Kisoro is, which part of the, you know, Uganda is this place from. Take us a little bit back about your journey from childhood and the ancestry of Mutuzo.
So I won't lie. It's not that I grew up in Kisoro. No, that's you could say that's where my village is. My village is actually on the border of Rwanda and Uganda. So that's where my village is. But I grew up in I could say my parents had very humble beginnings, and as a firstborn, I saw that. So we went from a one-room apartment in Kasubi. It wasn't even called an apartment, but I'm just saying the word apartment. So I saw my parents really work hard and go to where they are. And that also sort of had an impact on me. And for me, when I was in school, I just always wanted to do more. So I was one of those kids that was everywhere, just trying to do more. Even when I wasn't good at some things, I just wanted to learn and do more. And particularly, I could say my work life began when I was about 14 years. I was chosen to be part of a group to begin a pull-out, then called Teens, at New Vision. Now that pull-out
Teens magazine, the publication, the New Vision, the publication that comes out of it.
Now it's called Swag, but then when we were starting it out, it was Teens. So that's how I began my work journey. So at first it was, you know, something you do, you like. I would keep sending in articles, I would keep writing. Then in my S4, I had some time on my hands, so I went in and I was also helping out with the editorial work. And then I grew in my writing, I grew in my communication. Then, particularly in my S5, S6, then I was the president of the debating club of Nabisosa Girls School. And we had, you know, this dream to have the biggest debate ever. And we kept trying to look at, you know, which person we would invite as the guest of honor. And one of the people that came to our minds was Mr. Robert Kabushenga. But because, you know, he was quite popular that
time. Then he was the CEO.
Yes, then he was the CEO. And he was quite popular. And, you know, one of those people that is very difficult to get. We were quite scared on whether he would even come. So we even had a plan B. Now, because I had been at New Vision writing, my friends thought, oh, now, Irene, you're here, you can get this done. So, so I was put on a mission to get Mr. Kabushenga to come and be our guest of honor. And I remember taking that letter with our patron. I thank God he wasn't there because I was so nervous. And but he responded to the letter and he came. And when he came, you know, indeed the debate was really big. It had all this coverage. And he was so impressed with the organization, and he told us, you know, the cabinet can come and work at New Vision, like voluntary work.
This is the debating cabinet of the Nabisosa Girls School
in my So we ended up having could say VAC job. And you know, when VAC came, my friends were like, okay, Irene, Mr. Kabushenga promised us this opportunity. Please go and ask. so being bold, yes, we did go and ask him, and he was very open, and he made sure we got those opportunities. And I remember him telling us that if you work hard, you'll actually get full-time jobs. So we worked hard, and we ended up getting full-time jobs. So I was at New Vision for about 4 years, and throughout my campus life, I was actually working at New Vision. Then in my third year, now when we had to do the usual internship, I also got an opportunity to intern at the United Bank for Africa. It was meant to be for 3 months, but I'm humbled that they liked the work I was doing, so they kept me on for some more months. And that particular year was tough, very, very tough.
Why do you qualify it as a very tough year?
I was juggling school as a finalist, and you can imagine I had exams, I had a thesis. I was still at New Vision because I felt it wasn't yet my time to leave. I still wanted to learn, and then I also had the internship. So my day looked like 8 to 4, I'm at the bank. After 4, I ran to New Vision. Then I was doing evening classes, so at about 7, 8, I'd then take a bike to class.
Wow.
And that was my day. That was.
So which campus was this?
It was at Makerere. Yes,
All right.
But I'm glad that, you know, I went through that season. It taught me resilience. It taught me the ability to juggle a lot of things. I learned so many skills. So many skills that I would later use in my year. I'm glad that I didn't fail at any of the things. I actually passed, and even in school I was on top of my class. So it just pushed me to work hard because I knew I didn't have time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Irene, I mean, hearing your story, you sound so mature at that age. You sound so very organized at that age. And we often don't find people within that age bracket that would be very organized and very sound to be a little bit more astute in what they want, looking at what they want. How old were you, and where would you place your ability to be that organized, to be that very, you know, what I would say, upright in the mind, that you know what you want to do, you know how to get it, and you're stuck to that point of saying, I will do it. How old were you, and what was your driving factor, to say the least?
Well, I could say I was about 19 to 24,
yes.
23,
yes.
23.
Yes.
I know I wasn't organized.
Why do you say you were not organized?
I was just trying to figure out life,
yes.
and I thank God that all these opportunities came to me, and I grabbed them as, like, you know, sometimes opportunity comes to us once.
Yes.
And I believe, I'm a firm believer in nothing happens to you
by accident.
By accident.
Yeah.
And God has a reason why that thing is happening to you.
Yes.
God has a reason why He's putting you in that space.
Yes.
God has a reason why He's putting certain people in your life.
Yes.
So for me, it's not by accident.
Yes.
And I can tell you, no, I wasn't organized. Yes. I was someone learning, yes. And you can imagine someone learning on the job.
Yeah.
And even later, after now graduating, I now started working at Brighter Monday.
Yeah.
Then after Brighter Monday, I began working at Green Hill Schools, where I got my first, I could say, opportunity as a young manager.
Yeah.
And even in that role, I learned, my God, it just stretched me, and I learned and I grew. Because, you know, as a manager and as a leader, of course, you know, when you're older, there are certain things you have seen over the years. But we young managers, at times we need to learn things by doing. And